see anything because it's fucking glare from my window.
Hey, Mike's alive. Mike's alive, kids.
Yeah,
I think
about it.
Yeah, tell me more about it, dude. Yeah. Tell me
baby.
more.
Yeah,
You mean this information that I care about? Oh, psych! I don't.
LOL, don't care.
That's on you, psych.
LOL,
Something's
loser.
broken with. I'm gonna open.
Loser, whatever's clever.
We're gonna do this manually for this stream, and I'll fix the plugin's broken overall.
Of
Weird.
what?
The chat commands.
Oh.
Hey, just exposed a lizard. Oh my gosh, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I just cut the grass and this little lizard was like sunbathing and I scared the shit out of him. He was just like, whoa, dude, you're here.
What are you doing, man? Yeah, you ruined so much for a tree hugger. Mom.
I didn't feed him to anybody or kill him like most people. I eat him.
Because home away from him, that's just as bad. You just
you
half measured G-word him.
Listen, I make the game harder because I only eat vegetables. Okay, so get out of here.
Oh, you're a mad person. You're a mad human being. You're a mad
man. Cruelty-free run, you know?
Yeah, hashtag. That's a good one, actually. A charity drive.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
They already do it for all the games done quick. I can't remember what the meme started with. I think it was from Sonic speed runs.
Yeah. But the twist,
Metroid.
Mom, is that you do the opposite of what it is.
What is?
You just kill everything in sight.
No, I don't do that.
Do you at least poke the chickens until they swarm you?
No.
See, what I did was I took the body parts of the dead soldiers or dead people.
Oh yeah, like the dead skeletons and stuff.
The dead skeletons, and put them on my weapons. Be like, this is what I made your homie at. Come out! It's really dark. It's.
I like it.
This game is rated E or T, right? Anyways, children are playing it, and look what it's fucking teaching them: to skin your enemy alive.
Oh my god!
And to take their corpse and to fucking charge into battle like Vikings.
Yeah, dude.
I think you're just being resourceful, you know? It's called a sustainable lifestyle, and you're teaching it to the youth through
really, you know what it's called?
Using the skulls of his enemies.
Listen,
this happened in 1700s, right?
What
Bailey just described was when,
bro,
just say Europeans came over. And
what does this have to do with anything to do with Zelda?
Oh no, you're saying being unresourceful, and I said it's like you're talking like a colonizer.
LOL, sucker.
Touche. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, touche.
It always sucks when you gotta explain your joke, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bad joke.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it.
I'm just saying, Bailey, you brought out every time you talk about this, you're like, hey, I'm gonna be like,
every time
you did it.
Every time I talk about this, I chime in on one Zelda joke, and now you're the one. What do you mean? What do you mean? Get out of here.
What?
Oh, I didn't even see these guys. What the fuck are y'all doing over here?
By the video game. This is gonna be the rest of the podcast.
No,
I'm always playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Listen, why can't I have fun?
You can have fun. You can have fun. I'm just teasing. It's like when you used to play Minecraft all over again.
No, Bailey's mad at me right now. He's like, get off your phone or off your game.
I'm livid.
Yeah, I know you're angry. You're not allowed to be mad. It's not nice.
It's okay. Raza's texting anyways.
So why are you coming for me?
I'm not texting.
I had to. I thought the timing was too good. I had to.
Wait.
He's warming up his pen is what he's doing.
My pen.
Who is attacking me?
So Raza, what was your favorite article you wrote this weekend?
A build for Diablo, a druid. Go raid that. Me and a homie made it. and I ran with it. I turned to a bear, a werebear. And then I have wolves, two wolves that fuck shit up. So we combine Army of Dead, wolves, and werebear. And then I go Super Saiyan, turn to a darker werebear, and that werebear gets its own werebear skill bar. So it has its own werebear attacks.
What on God's green earth did you just say?
So he made a werebear.
I made a werebear. Sorry, Wine Mom, that your Zelda has taken up your
Don't come for me like that.
So, Wine Mom, I have a moral quandary about animals and supposed cruelty, right? So, if you are a werebear, right?
Yeah. There's also a werewolf.
If you can command...
A werebear is a human bear.
Yeah, and you can command 2 other wolves, right? Like, you're in charge of 2 wolves. If you tell them to attack demons for you, is that animal cruelty?
Is that... Am I supposed to answer it or supposed to...
I thought Wine Mom's supposed to.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
no. I feel like
no.
he's decided no.
I'm gonna say no, but I'll justify why. So certain I know.
Why?
I just saw you start laughing. No, because certain dogs like to work. So if it's breed permitting and it's a working dog type breed, then it's okay. But if it's a house cat dog type breed, then you're just being a dick.
So what's a demon slaying dog?
Wolves.
I assume a demon slaying dog is probably a wolf or a wolfhound, and those are working dogs, so it's okay.
How about a poodle?
They need a job. Poodle, no, because poodles
are very intimidating.
Haircuts. Actually, no, poodles are.
They're prison guard dogs.
They're actually really tough dogs. Yeah.
They were French prison dogs, and they had their poofs because the little poofs heated up their joints, and then that's how they had that poof. But that's also why they're temperamental, because they were trained to just
these dogs. Okay. I remember having
this looks
like one of those dogs that
I want a pug that fights demons.
No,
I want to.
Honestly, the best dog to fight demons probably would be a Malinois. I'm just gonna say that.
That's so furry. That's a lot of.
A Malinois? No. A Belgian Malinois? No.
What's a Malinois?
It's a type of shepherd. They look like German shepherds, but they have a red color to them. They're short hair. Or like
these ones. Okay, interesting.
And they are probably one of the most bold-headed, like very, very like stubborn type breed. But they're commonly used as police dogs because they love to just like they just love to just like go and like bite and attack and jump and just be like fucking wild. Like there's videos of those dogs doing some of the most wild shit you'll ever see. It's crazy.
It looks like German shepherds too, eh?
Yeah, because that's very common. It's like people think that they're shepherds, and the police in Toronto, they have them. Sometimes they have Malinois. It's not always a shepherd.
Oh, okay.
Dogs.
They just have that slight red color to them that a shepherd doesn't have.
The meme is coming to my head when I see it. It has cat people and dog people. So the dog people are like, "Oh, my dog is a fucking German Shepherd, blah 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 blah," like all these complicated names. My cat, my dog's a Great Dane, from blah blah, and the cat people are like, "This is a tabby." Oh, cool. Mine's a tabby too. Are you sure? I don't know. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, like I found mine in a dumpster.
I found mine in a dumpster. Yeah, I named it Mittens.
See, I'm both of those people.
Yeah,
because I do really love dogs, but I think like specific breeds and stuff, like it's important to like, because if you're asking me about animal cruelty and stuff, like making sure you as a person have the right breed is a good way to not accidentally cause your dog to have a bad life.
Right. Like I'm like that, but for like cats, I know my last cat was a Maine Coon, and then my sister's last cat was a Himalayan. And then, but ever since then, we've had like tabbies. That's basically it.
Would you do the cat DNA test?
Yes.
You can 23andMe
No.
your cat.
I'm not gonna. I'll. You know what? I'm more valuable to the government than a cat is. So yes, I would not do it to
I'm curious.
myself.
I'm curious if Avocado is a pure Blue Russian because I don't think she is. The vet thinks she is, but I don't think she's pure. I think she's mixed with a short hair
She could
of
be.
some kind. I don't know. She's just got this like weird poofiness to her
Base
that
paws.
I don't commonly see in a Blue Russian.
I mean, you can probably
$59. You can 23andMe your cat.
No.
Damn,
To
it's expensive.
pay $159 for someone to tell you your cat is just a tabby.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Because because the other thing is like cat DNA is actually way more complicated than people think it is.
Yeah.
Because their
sentence.
bloodline has been so perverted because of all of the tabbies and stuff. And cats also are newly domesticated. People don't realize that. People think like because cats are most commonly accepted, but they're way less domesticated than dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like fucking.
Didn't the Egyptians like? Oh wait, no, the Egyptians worship them.
Cats are basically wild animals to us. Like we don't know them like we know dogs.
They're like boars. If you leave a cat in the middle of BC, like in the mountains, in like 2 generations it would turn into a lynx pretty much. Like it would.
That's cool. That's called Pokemon evolution.
Yeah, there's like that's how like not domestic, like a dog would still stay a dog, but you would see a cat switch into a different animal over.
That's really cool. Dogs fucking and cats unite. Let's fucking go, buddy. Let's fucking go. Kitty, I'm a postman.
Well, it's crazy to me when people will complain, "Oh, I went to my friend's house, their cat was so bad." It's like it's not. Cats are feral, bro. It doesn't matter where you get them from, how long you've had them, whatever. They're feral. Though. Yeah, but they're feral. They're all feral. Well, even if they're nice, they all have some sort of feral behavior to them.
No, 100%. I think that's like that's because dogs, they're easier to domesticate, and cats kind of chose it to be. That's what I like.
Yes.
Cats kind of said, "Hey, well, let's do it." But cats do have emotions, but inherently they are feral.
Yeah.
Because
it must be a very domesticated cat line, like a specific family line, if it's that well behaved. But most of them are just feral.
Yeah.
Because think of it this way: you can teach a dog to stop chewing your furniture, but good luck trying to teach a cat. Yeah. Be like, yeah, okay, sure, no problem. I'll do when you're not home.
It's impossible.
Doable. You just
it's very hard. No. It's very hard.
Patient. It is exceptionally hard.
Yeah.
But I got my cats.
It's all the cat's life though. No. All the cat's life though. No. I don't. Yeah. To be fair, we have stopped. I've taught mine to stop doing that.
Yeah.
And stop. But like, you know.
Yeah. Until you go away on vacation.
You're not gonna see a dog or a cat be like, catch. You know. You're like train it.
Avocado plays catch.
Never mind then.
Yeah, my cat does tricks.
Avocado plays catch.
Yeah. He does circles. He sits. He rolls over. He knows sign language for certain things.
With Avocado, it's only by her choice. It's not because I want to. It's only when she wants to.
So cats have the capability of killing us. So you're just giving them more of a reason. Like you're evolving them. You're like gonna quickly pick up these. That's a knife for food.
He was too smart. He was restless. He was a bitch. He was pissy all the time. So then we started training him and got his energy out, and now he's happy because he does tricks.
He's a chunky cat now.
No.
It's a Maine Coon, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's massive.
That's
he runs around all over the place.
Okay. Yeah. We let both of ours in the backyard, and they're like, they just. I discovered that we have a robin nest right here, and then
do not let the cat get the birds.
Now it's making sense of why both cats go to that direction in our backyard. I was just like, what the are they? Is there like cat piss there? There's one like there's actual robness, and there's a bunch of bird feeders everywhere, so our backyard becomes like the bird sanctuary. This year I just discovered there's a different species of finch, a red one. So that's been coming, and my cat's been like losing her goddamn mind over these things. And there's rabbits too. So it's just we're letting our cats
Good
out,
eats.
but they can't catch anything. They're quick. Both of them are fucking quick, but the animals are quicker, right?
Weak. My little guy used to be a monster. He was a monster. He used to bring me birds. If I accidentally let him outside, he would bring me birds with their heads off. It was like it's like, oh, okay, I'm not letting you out, man. You're a menace.
No.
You're a menace. You stay inside. Stop bringing me gifts, please.
Sometimes I feel like cats take after their owner. I wanted to see if this happens, if this has any sort of like connection.
He would catch stuff, and then he would only eat the head. And it's like, that's the grossest option out of the catching the animals, man. You're supposed to make
It's an
this clean
animal.
for me.
You can't tell. It doesn't know what's disgusting. It says bird.
His one way to pay rent is pest control, and this man's can't even do it with consideration.
He's doing
mess
it.
to clean up. I know. At least he's doing half the job.
Yeah, full job. All right, you're just complaining. It just sounds like you're ungrateful. It sounds like a you problem.
It's like if I hired
old man's out here doing shit.
A pest control guy, and then he doesn't come clean up. He just is like, okay, here you go.
First of all, that's a human.
Well,
this is a cat.
Fair enough.
You're applying. It's just like have you taught your cat to take a dump in toilet? Probably. It's probably Bailey.
No, I wish I did though. I'm not.
I've seen videos of it. I'm just like, I wonder how much time that took.
Takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of reinforcement. You have to pay attention to your cat a lot.
Yeah, fuck that. There's a litter. Just go there. Have fun. Clean it. It's fine.
Yeah.
We have a podcast. Sorry. We're
So who goes first, so I can know the order before I do the spiel to open it up.
Not me, Raza. That's why you're being quiet.
All right,
you want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll go. Right. Right now.
Okay.
Do you have an intro or?
I'm just gonna do the what's up internet, same-ish, different day, new format, Raza Talks. Okay. Yeah. Yay! What's up,
internet?
Welcome to Same-ish, Different Day, the show with a name that we cannot say anymore. This week we're back to our newish format, and we want to just share some news that we're interested in. So, Raza, kick it off. What you got today as we?
I got the pink shortage because of the Barbie movie.
Interesting.
Global pink.
There's a pink shortage going on right now?
There was a pink shortage during the filming of the Barbie movie, but that's not my story. My story is about the new Apple VR headset that was announced today, but this is going to go up.
Interesting.
Whenever. So it's been announced June 5th. So remember that date. So during Apple's event earlier, they announced the long rumored headset. The company that's a few years behind everybody else is catching up finally. Well, it's a VR headset, but it's also an AR headset, and they're going to be, so you can, according to what Tim Cook says, so you can switch between it. I just saw stuff about for sports. So there's going to be a table, and then if you're watching a basketball game, you can turn on the AR, or if you're watching an F1 race, you can turn on the AR and like watch the a track. It may be huge for sporting apps for sports fans. The device is controller free, but it also uses, from what I've read, a PS5, the controller to play games, and you're going to be playing games on it. And then to scroll it, you use your eyes. You can use your eyes, but you can also use hands gestures. And the device is powered by the Apple's OS for a thing called Vision OS. Does not sound watchdoggy at all. Does not sound one surveillance state at all to me. By the way, there are voice commands and it does have Bluetooth support, but like all Apple products, it only can use Apple stuff. But the PS5 controller, uh, and it'll have battery power which runs for 2 hours, and it's also plug and play. But guess how much it'll cost? Just guess how much it'll cost. Just guess. I know Bailey just looked this up, so here you go.
Oh no, I didn't. I was prepping my stuff. So you brought so many facts. I was like, okay, I better at least get some sources.
Guess how much?
I'm going between $1,200 and $1,400.
All right. What about you, Blind Mom?
I feel like it's really, like it's gonna be high. So like 25.
Okay. Mind you, the Switch, which can do a lot, costs $500, $600, and there are cheaper headsets VR headsets out there. Top of line, one costs $1,400. This one has cost $3,499.
I was gonna say 35.
USD.
I was gonna say 35.
USD.
I felt it might be too crazy.
That it's Apple. It's Apple,
I don't
baby.
think they got it like that anymore. I think this is
Apple.
a bad move. They don't got it like that anymore.
I don't think, and that's USD. So for Canadian, it'll be like it'll be 4,000, 5,000. It's gonna be 4K. It's gonna there's one last thing. There's gonna be two versions of it. So the Pro is gonna come out, and they haven't really announced a price for the Pro. But it's gonna be this mix. They're marketing it as a mixed reality headset, so not just VR, but AR as well, so you can do both. And they've said it's the first VR you can look through because it's augmented reality. So augmented reality, just to give you guys a lowdown on what that it's still using your reality, but bringing in stuff into it. So like if you see a table, it'll be in the real world, but there'll be things on top of that table.
I'm starting to get tempted
Minecraft.
The workspaces in it are what intrigues me, right?
Yes.
Like using augmented reality to, like, if I could stand there and have multiple monitors just through my headset. That's where you can get a Bailey. The augmented reality would be very useful that way.
Can you put that on stream? The thing I dropped in Discord.
Sure.
It's made like, have any of you guys seen Ready Player One? It looks a lot. The headset looks a lot like that. It actually surprisingly looks comfortable. I have tried the PSVR, like on PlayStation 4. It's cool, but it gets really sticky around here because of the sweat. This one doesn't look that bad.
It does look way more cozy.
Yeah. And it's gonna have dual 4K OLED. So your eyes are gonna be just popping with the micro pixels, dude. It's gonna be. So and like, to me, this is a huge. We knew Apple was gonna do this. They were gonna jump into the VR game. Everybody's already doing it, so Apple's just like, why don't we just not revolutionize their VR thing and just take features and just make them look cool, but they're already available everywhere else. Or we're gonna mix AR and VR and put them into one thing. Sold. But anyways, questions, concerns.
Like, tech company wise, it's very interesting because it's like a complete opposite route to the Zucks, right? Like it's like a big fu and standing on Apple's marketing legs, like rather than come out and say we're creating the Apple metaverse and look at this, they decided to stick to the hardware and say look at how good and fancy our shit is, and stayed away
Don't be
from
able
trying
to
to promise what it might look like. Rather stick. This is clearly sounds like they're pushing the hardware primarily.
more so, yeah. And I don't think Apple, like Google, has a history of abandoning projects. Like what Google has done with Stadia. So I think this will go a long, long way, and people are definitely gonna buy this because it's Apple.
Mm-hmm.
It will. People will give it a try just because it's Apple, because it's their
Yeah.
competition, because Zuck owns Oculus, right? So that's he's the out of the other tech company giants, he's the other main
Steam,
hand in play.
Valve, or what's the other one? Sony has one too.
Okay, yeah, all the new Sony stuff. Yeah, I did. Okay, I'm neglecting Sony, but their Steam is like in different ballparks. Steam they're playing to like the niche tech nerd
Gamers.
market. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Wine Mom,
Yeah.
because you're the Apple mans of the group here.
Honestly,
Honestly,
all right, pal. Be careful,
sorry,
okay?
sorry.
Anyway, I am an Apple user and I do like Apple stuff, but I like old Apple stuff. I'm not so up to date with the new technology. Like I have an old Mac and I have an old phone. I feel like for me, like I kind of reject this alternate reality stuff, like with the masks. Like I've been to arcades and stuff and I've seen them there, and people have been like, "Oh, let's play! It's so much fun." I don't vibe with it. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
To me, I feel like it's way too removed from reality. Because I always think about like what is the end game with this technology, right? Because like, cool, we can do all this really cool stuff, but so many people work jobs or have to work jobs to afford that stuff, and when are they going to find the time to like really enjoy that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So I just
I
always wonder,
agree.
like, what is the aim? What is the end game of making all this
Yeah.
technology? Is it like so that eventually we like never get up and go outside? We just all of us just have like virtual lives and virtual jobs.
Yeah.
Where we like
100%.
sit on a couch and just
That's
like
100%.
click our fingers around and play like Life's a Giant Video Game? No thanks.
I read Ready Player One, Wine Mom. You got to read that because this is basically what it is.
See,
Yeah,
but I
'cause
reject
that's-
that. I reject that because I enjoy outside and like physical existence.
But
No,
it
I
will
agree.
get integrated in different weird ways, I think, you know? Like I agree with you. And I think that's the misconception that everyone thinks it will be some Ready Player One, like, oh, here we all load in every night. But it will be weird, slow ways that change how we consume things. Like, be it you wanting to experience Minecraft differently, and everyone's like miles ahead in 5 years. Like, I don't know. I think the weird, trippy part is like that they're trying to predict what the market is going to look like based on like a sci-fi thing. So I think doing the AR and hardware focus allows other people to come up with the ideas for you.
Yeah.
Speaking about market, as they announced this, the VR headset, Apple's stock has plummeted. At the moment of I saw the live feed. It was doing very good, but then that they announced it, that second it was trending on Twitter and everything. How the stock is like doing very bad right now. So it just I'm with you, Wine Mom, because I think this is, and with Bailey, I think you both are hitting some some actually like things that people aren't saying is that well, I agree that this is will look like a trend. I think this is gonna last in the mainstream for about another couple years, give or take. But it's only going to be the niche people that are gonna be buying it because
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, And then to what Bailey says, they are sort of basing it off of something that's people are already kind of aware, like think they're aware of. Like it isn't going to be like a Ready Player One. It's going to be completely different. So it's going to be like, it's going to be weird because I think this isn't going to take off. Because it isn't taking off for that much for anybody else, right? So how can Apple make it sell without even without that price tag? You know what I mean? So it's like I think this is just going to be for specific people who want that, and that's why I think it's being priced insane high.
I agree with this. Like two things is for me. I think a big change would be like if workspaces are revolutionized, like if it can become affordable, and rather than cubicles, they send you a pair of AR goggles with the company template, right? That sounds like a much more practical experience for employers in the long run with the work from home model. So that's how I definitely see like the workspace. And then it's just super quick. It's like a quick tangent. I was on the TikToks and I saw AR content like of like people playing Beat Saber in a fully AR environment. I was like, I can see how this, like, wait till this becomes COD or Tarkov and it's some fucking frat bro holding a setup. Like this is, I can see where this can go soon.
Absolutely.
At some point. But go ahead, Wine Mom.
I just feel like even if it goes that way, it's currently not cost effective. And companies are not going to spend all that money to send a VR headset home with their worker. It's not going to happen. They don't even want to pay us our current wage. Why would they want to send us home with VR sets?
I think it's going to be specific companies because
someone
not
in HR, someone working finances, someone who's a travel agent. There's lots of like mid-scale businesses who have that funds. They already pay for laptops for their staff. There's a lot of businesses that already operate with these models like in place for these resources.
In hindsight, could be cheaper than like shipping off a desktop or like a. It'd be like
training them and bringing them into an office. All those expenses are large, especially just releasing that retail
I don't know.
space.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if I agree. But I hear what you're saying. I see your point. It's valid, but I feel otherwise.
It's good to be pessimistic here too. So I feel you.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not so much pessimistic, but I'm just like, it took so long to implement companies buying laptops for their employees. I can't see them jumping to something that expensive right away, because that is more expensive than a PC.
It can be.
It can be. In a few years, again, as this becomes more accessible, we don't know what this is going to look like. Even the Vive is mad affordable, and it's small now. It's really small.
What? The Vive?
Is this one Vive? Whatever.
Vive?
Thank you.
The
Vive.
The
Vive is real small now. Like I could say it could get to a point that it's not an uncomfortable, nerdy product. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't think it's an uncomfortable, nerdy product. I think it rejects, I don't know, healthy living.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think you will have divisive natures, and especially with like progressive politics, there'll be a lot of space for people rejecting this type of work. So it is interesting. Well, you are right. There would be a lot of people critical of it.
Like, it's cool and it's fun, but it's like, if we, not to get too nerdy and keep going on this topic, but it's like, if we get into something like that and we severely neglect the environment in which we live in currently, it's going to be all for what point? Like, you can't VR planting trees in BC. You can't do that. So
you can be the VR that's controlling the robot that's planting the tree. So
adding extra emissions to the world.
Robots don't give out.
It's vegetable fuel powered.
That's
sustainable fuels.
Exactly.
They're developing an F1 right now, Wine Mom. If you watch F1, actually, in 4 years. But
in 4 years, Wine
Mom. But you know, that Raza's got a point. Like that's when the weird. That's the whole nerdy Web 3. There could be what if it's like oh, you're doing sim power washer, but you're actually
In real
power
life.
washing cars remotely. You know what I
You're doing
mean?
like, could you imagine like being a mechanic and working remotely?
I mean, I guess it could make your job more fun, maybe,
All the surgeon
because
simulators for VR.
right, because you're like playing a game technically.
Yeah.
But no, I don't get it. I get it if it's like we're talking about like for entertainment purposes, like for playing video games and stuff like that. Because this is the thing, like when it comes to technology, I'm totally into the whole like just making things in your home easier, playing games, like consuming content, stuff like that. Like technology should be for that. But
Mhm.
to change other things in our lives that we do, like going out and spending time with our friends and stuff like that, I don't think technology should be replacing that with a fucking
I
VR
agree.
headset.
I agree.
I
But
concur.
like, yeah. But there's gonna be obviously people are like the Musk zaddies out there are gonna try to do that. So
I mean, like
there's always.
I think a lot of people will buy into it for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I'm super intrigued at the concept of like imagine if we could curate a VR space of our own, right? With like
Dude,
whatever content we want and look in whatever
bro.
way we want. That sounds like an appealing creative space to hang out in, you know what I mean? That's rather than just a Twitch. Yeah,
Vi-
see the vibes look so much
the
simpler
Vive is
now.
cheaper. It's
Yeah.
cheaper and it does the exact same thing as the Apple the thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, why mom? I just went on a VR rabbit hole here. No, but I agree. We shouldn't be like we shouldn't replace things that don't need to be replaced with these things, like leaving our own house, and
Mhm.
driving or going out. I think there's going to be. I'm glad that there is obviously going to be opposition to this. So I'm glad there's going to be some sort of like friction because it's unhealthy. Like just for your eyes, there's a bunch of health concerns, so many other shit in the long run. So yeah, obviously it isn't going to be taken as seriously. But again, there's going to be those people out there that are like, hey, we're gonna make it so the VR makes everybody's life significantly easier, and people want that. So
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want my floating computers and then I don't have to have all these monitors done. J-
yeah,
jack that shit into the laptop. I get 3 extra monitors. I'm buying one.
yeah. I just want to play Pong.
Hmm.
It would make my workflow easier. You could work remotely anywhere and have the exact same setup that you're comfortable with.
See, for those that I understand, like being able to pack up a simple thing and carry it with you. Like I get what technology is trying to do. Trying to make everything so much easier. Look, it's all wrapped up in this little tiny eye goggle device. Perfect. So that you have the ability to take it everywhere really easily. But I just feel like it's going to just ruin the way that the world exists. Normally, I'm not so pessimistic about this stuff, but today it's just like the vibe that it's giving me is very like let's take away leaving your house and being in nature and replace it with technology. And I just get worried because I do think about like those movies where the world slowly deteriorates.
Hmm.
Actually, not slowly, kind of rapidly deteriorates, but technology grows so quickly and then we just don't have anything left to go outside for. And we all become cave dwellers.
Yeah.
That
And
I
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's yeah. I'm like I do think because I again like because this is going to be not as welcomed as a lot of other technological advances because not I the VR is like it's in the camp of it's either you get it or you don't, right? There's no
Hmm.
like you either yeah, it's very black and white, but you can switch to both sides. So that's why I think VR, if we have the same mindset now, I think VR will only be like the net won't like its net won't be as big as say something like phones, for example. Like phones, we still like it hasn't replaced our lives yet. But then if I think we're smart enough to understand that if things are out of our lives, we don't really like that. We are creatures of habit, I think, and that sort of breaks it up.
Yeah.
So we don't want that. So we were like, oh, I don't want to go to a restaurant in VR. The fuck am I
No.
gonna eat?
Well,
Air?
because that's the thing. Like, the whole idea with VR is meant to compact our lives. Like, in a way, they're trying to save the environment, but in a way, they're not. Because they're
Or
wanting to,
not?
like, compact us all into smaller spaces. Because
Yeah.
if you use your mind, it's limitless, right? So they're trying to give us that, like, look, you don't need so much stuff in space. You can just live in this world where you don't have to worry about how much stuff in space you have.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's like
Like, I love sci-fi movies, but
mhm.
like I don't want that to be Earth, you know?
No,
No
no.
thanks.
I
You
hope
don't want
not.
to. You don't want
I
it
hope
to be
not.
Surrogate with Bruce Willis.
No, I do not.
No. Good God, Bailey.
That's yeah. I read a post-apocalyptic novel once, and it was like
Is Bruce Willis
everyone.
the main character?
No, no, no.
Oh,
It was about civil war in the United States, and then it was it was
what happened?
people's lives. What took over was like because the AI didn't work for flying drones, so everyone their jobs were flying. You would pilot drones as a career. That's how everyone's lives. To like delivery rather than DoorDash, you put on VR goggles and deliver food for the night with a little
See,
drone.
oh my, that sounds so stupid. Holy shit. Now imagine applying that in real life.
That's
It
what
all
Amazon already
sounds
does
like the
it.
worst.
I know it sounds terrifying. Just a factory full of people piloting drones. No, thank you.
Imagine if you're
Mm-mm.
ordering pizza and get drone striked by a fucking a large pepperoni pizza
See,
and
that's a thing, but
like
I know you're
death.
making a joke, but that's the truth. When you keep making technology that is so like encroaching into human life and existence, you're giving so much opportunity for chaos and devastation. Like,
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
will hack those things and they will use them for bad things, and we're just giving them more
Oh,
tools.
100%. Hundo percento.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
I agree.
like like these people who are
Like, I
I
want the
guarantee
technology, but like,
Well, because that's
you know?
to side with both of you and Raza's usual Western hate. I feel it's
don't
like
get us banned on Twitch again, Bailey.
I feel like this discussion is a big like flex of our Western ignorance too, because like you're saying, there's such a big lack of security. The world's like in such a tense state. Like you're kind of expecting everyone to adapt to this technology, but you're not considering that the vulnerability it gives your society as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I guarantee the people who are hyped up about this are the first ones to be like the government isn't everything. The government isn't everything. The government isn't everything. Yet they are giving them way paying that $8 check mark, buying this $5,000 or $3,000 $4,000 VR headset. Uh, uh, they are just I think they don't know it, but they're the ones slowly giving themselves away to technology. And when you start to do that, you become like the hit game Cyberpunk 2077, where you just everything is connected. You know what I mean? And then you aren't able to sort of detach yourself from it. So you become so engrossed with that system. And that's like I think when humans realize that, that's when we're like, no, no, no. That's when the actual war against robot and or man. That's when Terminator 3 begins. When Skynet comes over and takes their shit home, buddy. Terminator 3. This happens in Terminator 3: Rise of the Machine.
The worst one. The worst one of the bunch.
Have you seen Genesis?
Genesis, okay. I don't even count those. I don't even count that one. But yes, that's a bad one too. Very bad.
Yeah.
Mucho
Yeah.
bad. Mucho bad.
Mucho
So, On that note, I'm going to segue into mine. Is that okay? Do you feel satisfied? Do you feel
Do you feel
satisfied on our
satisfied? Does
doomsday
Wine Mom
story?
feel satisfied? This is all for you, Wine Mom. All for you.
I am not satisfied.
What else do you need me to
No, I'm
to do?
joking. I'm satisfied.
All right. All right.
I'm satisfied. Whoa!
So, the story I have today, I'm going to try to
Drunk.
make it as concise as possible. It is also related to technology, and hopefully so that we can not give away our lives to the greedy corporations who make these technological advancements. But I wanted to talk about the right to repair. It's a very boring topic, but it's a very important one. And I've been bitching
Not
to
really.
Raza about it
You
for
can just get
years.
new. You can just get new shit.
Yeah, just
What are
buy
you gonna
new
do?
things,
Just
right?
buy new
So
shit. You know,
it's like in this
get a
weird
job.
line.
How about that? Okay.
It's a tough issue to push because it's in a weird spot politically, right? Because it's not really leftist or conservative. It's kind of
It's
this old
leftist.
school democratic.
Leftist.
No, man, it's like old capitalism. It's like it's my property. I should have the right to fix my property because it's capitalism. That's
I
what
guess
it,
the
you know.
leftists are saying like you should be able to like hold people accountable. I guess that's the leftist.
But so the much dramatic thing is like so right now, Wine Mom, you buy iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are aware that if you get it repaired at a non-iPhone shop, it voids your warranty, right?
I had to do that for my computer.
Yes, go ahead, Raza. Please proceed.
I'm pretty sure there was a landmark case against Apple in the States now that says that's like
This is all tethered together.
Did that ruin your? Oh shit! I'm gonna shut.
No,
up
it's
now.
okay. I just hadn't
Sorry,
gotten
bro.
there yet. That's okay to lead it up. So the main thing is there is a thing happening with Apple, but it's tied up in the Supreme Court and all that shit. It's gonna happen like years from now, and they're in the building process of whatever legal proceedings are, right?
Mhm.
And the first part of this is that in the state of Colorado, farmers union and lobbyists are the first ones to actually get a foothold into this industry because the most notable applicable issue where this was starting is like a farmer buys a tractor and the same issue with iPhones happens with the tractor. You're not allowed to repair it in any capacity, even if it's just got an oil issue. You can't just like replace the oil. You have to bring it into the dealership and blah, blah, blah. So
Okay.
the tractors, all the farmers, the big deal of this, they made this pushback, but within it, the thing actually includes the computer parts, the data for the machinery, and the right to repair the electronics of the machinery. So without going into the jibber jabber of all the other stuff and like the minutia, this sets the precedence for the larger cases now, like the suing of Apple and suing of tech organizations. Because now, as in United States court, you can sit there and use this case as legal precedence. So originally, just this farmers agreement was just with John Deere, and then John Deere agreed to now, if you buy a tractor, you have to be able to be given access to the manuals as well as all the schematics for the vehicle. And you can repair it, but then a John Deere technician needs to give you a thumbs up that you didn't destroy the thing, which was the happy middle ground. So, in addition to that, a lot of the other builders did sign on. They agreed as well. So, like Kubota, Cat, blah, blah, blah. The construction people will know what I'm saying. And now it's making more waves because then Quebec saw it happening, and Quebec is going to be the first province to try to lobby the same issue in Canadian provincial court. And now the big questions are happening of will this be brought to the Canadian federal level? And same thing happening with the EU because it's a weird thing for America to be actually taking the lead on a progressive technology policy for once. It's a trippy situation then, how somehow America's leading the charge. And again, so the wider this spreads, because it pertains to the computer equipment within the agricultural equipment as well, We may not be
Yeah.
able to have it apply to cell phones just yet, but all your other consumer technologies that are vital for businesses, like you could then argue, like your fucking coffee machine that has a special little keyboard in it that you have to lease from your restaurant supply company, then you can now have your right to fix that as well, instead of having to send it in to whatever giant corporation tries to fuck you with microwave ovens that have special timers on them. Yay, society! So I'm always on top of this because I think it's hypercritical to at least be aware of this. This is, for me, this is why I think it is kind of a leftist policy, because I think everyone should have the right to fix whatever they own, because fuck it, it's all monetary. We should all own it anyways. And then, as I said, it fits into the capitalist thing, because the capitalists are like, I own this goddamn thing, I should be able to fix it, which is valid, I guess. You know what I mean? If that's if you're leaning that way and that's your beliefs, it makes sense. It falls in line with everything. So, Wine Mama, have you ever run into an issue? You brought up your cell phone. Were there any other issues where you ran into something with the right to repair? You had a piece of tech or something that you wanted to fix, and then you ran into a bunch of problems?
Well, I've never run into a bunch of problems, but I do have devices that, like, I've had to make the choice. Am I going to do the cheaper option and fix it and hope that it works, or and void my warranty, or am I going to go back to the same company that's just like wasting my time anyways? So I have taken my computer in to be repaired. I've also taken my Switch is actually a refurb, so I did have to go for there. So I have a sticker on it that I have to leave on it, or it voids what they did. So I have had that experience, but I also remember when, I don't know, this might date me, but when Samsung had their like Galaxy 4, Galaxy 5, like those very first phones that came out, a lot of the time parts would break on the phone, and you could order the parts and fix it yourself, or you could take it into like a guy to fix it, but then Samsung would be like, sorry. So I actually like taught myself how to repair my phone. So like I used to be able to like change the screen and the like little bulbs and like little things inside the Samsung if it was broken, so that I could like make my phone last longer.
Yeah, they were really good for it, and they still have really vague rules around it, but they're getting stricter in terms of like their motherboards. Like if you repair a Samsung motherboard, then it's moot, but they allow you to still fix the phones and shit. If I'm correct, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It could have changed, but I knew they were getting stricter, and that was part of the. A lot of people were criticizing them because that was supposed to be their main selling point to the tech geeks, in contrast to Apple.
Like, yeah, I get protecting your motherboard, but like being able to like repair a button, change a screen, like things like that, like I should be able to, like, if I can afford it, I should be able to do it.
Exactly. So it's a very much. It seems like a nerdy and boring thing to be like, right to repair and let's talk about farm equipment, but it's like a big precedence for, again, moving into that scary tech future, right? If we don't start talking about this now, soon enough we're going to be in an era where Samsung owns the boards, Apple owns this company owns that, and then all of a sudden all your tech's made of stuff you're not allowed to touch.
It seems like it makes
computer.
sense. Like it makes sense because if something goes wrong with your car, you want to take it to a mechanic and have it fixed properly. So like why wouldn't it be the same with other things you have? But I think like I would say the main reason why they've allowing that to be a thing and like not wanting people to be able to repair stuff with the security is because they don't want to give away their ability to make money. Because it's like with cars, right? And a mechanic can fix a car. Sure, it may void a warranty or whatever, but like there's a whole profession, and like there's some sort of like ladder system in place for those things. But with cell phones, no.
It's the worst part of capitalism, right? They're trying to lock us into consumerism. That's like the big issue
Yeah,
with the
that's what I'm trying to
farmers,
say.
right? The farmers got to buy a fucking $2 million tractor every 2 years now, instead of like buying one and being able to fix it over 10
Fix
years.
it. Yeah.
right? It's
True.
insane, the chokehold. But
Mhm.
Raza, you got, and not in a get at way. You have been in proximity to much nicer vehicles than I. Have you ever run into issues with like your vehicles and taking them to the dealership or taking them to like a private mechanic or anything?
No, we just go to like people who specialize in what they do, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it just makes it go to that. But for this thing, I do believe North America is exclusive in this issue. A lot of countries actually have the right to repair. That's why it's like Europe. I know the EU forced Apple to be like you can't do this. This is not against our or not for our regulations. I think. Also, yeah, I think it's because of both Apple, Samsung, all these companies have massive lobbies in America. And what to one mom said, like it just why would they want to like give that money away,
Yeah.
right? Rather than it would be cheaper, obviously, to go to somebody else. But Samsung isn't involved in that. So if you're not gonna do with that, they're gonna punish you. Essentially, that's what they're doing, punishing you for going to somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the right to repair is a thing that I'm surprised it's not happening in the state or here in North America. I'm surprised this is like a massive issue. I didn't know how much of a chokehold these companies have on us and just that industry. And it's also interesting how other countries are are active against this stuff. It's because it is anti-consumer. We live in a capitalist country, like a neo-cap. Well, not us, but America is a neo-capitalist country, and consumerism is one of their biggest things. But then again,
Well,
buy, right? But
But then
then
if
how do
you
you buy? Yeah.
well, it's like if
I
you think about it, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that it locks you into the consumer cycle. I think that's the terrifying part. But that's why I was gonna let you go. Go ahead.
Yeah. Um. No, I think if you think about it, it's actually damaging to the economy because they're hoarding wealth. That's what these big companies
Yes.
do, right? They're like,
Yes.
oh, we're gonna keep you coming back with our products versus putting something out into the economy, which then could start benefiting smaller groups. Like, there's phone repair companies, like businesses around my area, but they don't make a lot of money because nobody trusts going to them because they've always been given this idea that, oh, if somebody opens your device, it's void and it's ruined because that person doesn't know what they're doing, and it kind of invalidates their education as a tech person or
Yeah.
whatever training they've done, and it's kind of turned that business into like a skeevy business when it's really
Mm-hmm.
not a skeevy business
No,
if
yeah,
you
no,
think about it.
I
Yeah,
get that. Yeah, and yeah.
it's that gross like neo-capitalism that Roz is mentioning, where it's like you're handing
It's also
over.
classist.
Yeah, because you're handing over too much power to corporations. Like even regardless of left or right, you're giving a corporate entity all the power, and they don't care about any humans, regardless of your political opinions. So
Yeah.
of course they're gonna try to exploit us, whether or not you're conservative or liberal. You know what I mean?
Well, I think political standing not really mattering in this situation so much as like when it comes down to like you or I. It's like if one of us broke a phone and let's just say like this, like one of us makes really good money, one of us makes okay money. We both break our phone. One of us is going to go to the guy around the corner who may do it for like, $60 cheaper, and one of us is going to be like, oh, it's worth it just going right back to the source because then, it's the people who made it, and then you're safe and your warranty and all that kind of stuff. It's classist in that way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I
I
don't
no,
like it.
absolutely. I agree with like it just because like I obviously I broke in my tech and I try to go both try to play for both teams
Yeah.
as much as I can. But yeah, I do notice that like it's more you feel you have that weird sort of safety net or safety in the back of your head that
Yeah.
there's an Android certified technician doing this rather than some next guy. But
Well, right.
yeah, but I believe for Android phones, I don't know about iPhone, there's a vast majority. What? Okay, quick question before we go on. When we go to a third party, uh, like a repair shop, and they aren't like, and they have, they're in. It says on the sign they're like an Apple
Certified
certified
tech.
tech
Mm-hmm.
or Google. Is that where does that fall?
I
So
would
that,
say, sorry, go.
well, that's still warranty voiding.
Right. Okay.
But
The,
also then you're still getting somebody who's trained and knowledgeable on that specific item. So with my computer, I did take it to a place called Beachmac, which is a company that is certified techs by Mac to work on
Mhm.
Mac devices. So I know that I'm getting the same, because for me, I don't care who fixes my computer. I care about the parts being used to fix my computer. So like the reason why I take it to an Apple certified tech is one, they're cheaper, two, it's a local business, and three, I know they're going to be outsourcing the same parts, if not extremely similar to what's already in my PC.
Mhm.
So I have that
And they know
security.
how to work a Mac or an Apple
Right.
product because
And I
they.
think I think that's reasonable, because as an individual with education who is able to obtain an education, it is your choice whether you want to put yourself into a niche category without still being in that niche category. It's the same thing like
Mhm.
when I think about for me in the when I was in the hair industry, you can go ahead and cut women's hair, but if you learn how to barber, you're going to make so much more money. So it's like
Yeah.
I knew that like having the basics of being able to do women's hair and then also being able to pick a niche, I can still do both things, but I'm going to make more money by being able to offer this niche.
Right. Right.
yeah.
I did not because I just assumed it's still in that umbrella. You're going to a
Yeah.
an Apple reseller, so it just assumes that you're. I
So
think
It
kind
that's
of,
the
just
it's
trick.
it's a little skeezy. You
yeah.
got to be very
Yeah.
careful. It depends where you're at. A lot of people, it's really hard to verify it, and it's basically like taking a certificate course. So a lot of people can be just a they could be an Apple verified thing, but they took a course and passed it, and then like they have to source certain parts, and that they still deal with a lot of the weird bylaws because if like a certain capacitor on the board, that's one of the ones that's not allowed to be repaired, then you're just kind of fucked. You void the warranty completely. Like there's a lot of
Right.
weird nuances to it. And then the Android one is like a little bit fooey. Same thing. It's just a
Yeah.
certificate course. There's no because Android isn't. They're all the Android doesn't. It doesn't. What? There's no company. Android's the operating system. There's no Android
Yeah.
certified. I mean,
Yeah.
Samsung, Google, that one's the skeezier one.
Well, yeah. It just I feel like you would have to know the Android sort of because it's like that one
Hmm.
OS. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Like
But
your
yeah,
odds are just in better favor if you choose to go with a certified tech, because even if
probably
they
yeah.
don't have the practical work, at least they know enough knowledge. But to be fair, when it comes to, because I think this is something that a lot of people forget. So it's like when you see parts to repair, like let's say you have a remote control from Nintendo that's like kind of broken, and you're like, like I want to replace the joy switch and like the body because it's kind of like cracked and broken. So you go online and you find a part sold by some random company. The
Hmm.
thing is, like, you're not getting an official licensed part to fix that. Where if you send it to
Yeah.
Nintendo, they're going to use their official like warehouse made parts, but because there's also a lot of copyrights around certain parts. So like I know with it was like I can't remember what I was trying to repair, but I had something like headphones or something that I wanted to repair. And they were like, "Yeah, we can repair it, but like we're going to have to kind of jimmy it and use these random parts because there's a copyright and like you literally cannot buy these parts to repair." Like the
Right.
company
Right.
has control over this copyright. So it's like the material is not going to be durable or long lasting. The shape is going to be slightly different. certain attachments and stuff like that, like they have to follow copyright so that they can't steal
That's
those
insane.
things. That's another factor, which is really annoying because you think you're like, oh, I'm getting this part for my Switch and it's so cheap. It's like, I don't know, $10, but if I take it to Nintendo, they're gonna charge me $60. It's like, yeah, because you got some sort of like 3D printed little piece of plastic.
Yeah, I always notice that too. Like, if you for as simple as a charger, if you get a like
A bootleg
phone,
charger for an iPhone, won't
like
charge your phone.
like $20, yeah. And then
Yeah,
but
and
you
it
go
takes.
like the real one is like 60-70 bucks for something.
I have the original charger from my current phone, and that's what I use in my travel bag, because I know that cord will charge my phone in 20 minutes. But all the other
Right.
cords that I have, like that I bought randomly in like grocery stores and stuff, takes like
Mhm.
an hour to charge my phone. And the
Yes.
companies do that on purpose, and like because it's different. That's the thing that people don't realize with when you like go to replace chargers for your phones and cords and stuff for your computers. Like you got to go and buy like good quality stuff because it's going to work with your device because the material is better. I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't buy the cheap shit because like I'd be buying chargers at the dollar store too, but
Yeah. No, I agree.
like
I agree.
So
every time I would break my Apple headphones, I always bought more Apple headphones because they just worked better.
so that's where it's a highly political argument, I would say, based on like how you want to regulate these industries, right?
Yeah.
Or you should regulate them with that the
I mean,
the guillotine.
they should never have been allowed to charge $60 for iPhone like jack headphones, the ones you plug in. They should have never been able to charge
Yeah,
that much for them when they
Europe
gave them to us for free.
again. My mom in Europe, Apple was forced to stop doing that because they're like, "Why are you making your own things? You should be making it." Like Europe.
More multi-platform or something, like more
Yeah,
compatible with other stuff.
Europe's laws are more protective of the consumer than of the business. So like, yeah, they actually forced Apple to be like, you're upcharging your own things for like $20-$30 more than what they are, and it's unacceptable. Why aren't you like making it like the other
Yeah.
companies and stuff? And so
Oh, that's a problem.
So they flat out not banned, but they told Apple to stop making Lightning chargers in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
See,
also,
like,
See that it's very difficult to implement that, right? Like it's a very leftist, like our current government. You can't. It's
I do
you're
shit.
not allowed to come in and tell a company what type of product they can make.
You're
well,
not
'cause,
allowed
like,
to
here's the
govern.
thing.
Okay.
No, because like here's the thing though, like all that's valid, right? Like they shouldn't be making something that isn't a widely accessible technology. Like, yeah, but
Yeah,
that's what you get when you buy that type of technology.
yeah.
But also like as far as the company is concerned, like if they're upgrading how they charge their phones, like that shouldn't be a punishable offense. What
Mhm.
should be the problem is that like if you want to sell a lightning cord, fine, sell it at the same price as all the other cords.
Right.
Why does your
Yes.
lightning cord have to be like just the base model, cheap to even buy one, have to still be like $30?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And at that point, it becomes like like um
Right.
like like the logo. It's an Apple product, and now it has to be sold at because it's a standard Apple has set it itself at. Unfortunately,
Because the hardcore reality of it is like we go buy headphones that do the exact same thing, but one is $60 and one is $130, and
yeah,
it literally doesn't make sense. The
yeah,
only
100%.
difference usually is the company and maybe the type of material that is used, not the actual technology being improved.
Even down to
Yes,
clothes.
comrade.
Yes, comrade. He's calling you a commie.
That's fine.
The other one is clothing. Clothing is also a very good example of this. I've seen
Oh
shirts
god,
white,
yeah.
$10, $10, and then I go to West 49, the same white shirt, but with a West
$60.
49 logo, $120 or $60.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
bullshit.
fucking insane. Yeah, it's
It's
and
bullshit.
is how our brain has been programmed to think. If it has a certain brand on it, it's worth more, and people will
It's
like
so
it.
crazy
One of
that
the famous streetwear designers just recently got called out because he was trying to make light of that. He's like, people pay like hundreds of dollars for the clothes I make, but I just go buy the jeans at Walmart.
Yeah,
And he was trying to
literally.
point out how dumb the whole process is.
Yeah,
yeah.
Walmart sells jeans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually really good jeans.
Jesus Christ. How
Anyway.
much does a banana cost? Fuck me.
No, but I just think like
Too rich.
I just think it's crazy. Like I didn't realize how like anti-brand I was. Like I've always been one of those people because I remember when I was a kid, my mom would take us shopping for clothes, and then she would be like, "Oh, do you want to go to like Hollister or Abercrombie and like I'll buy you one of those like expensive sweaters from there." And so like we'd be like, "Okay," and like we'd go in there, and my mom would pull out the most gaudy sweater that says Aeropostale in big letters with all the like, you know, insignia. And she'd be like, "Is this what you want?" And I'd be like, "No." But then I would see like the most plain basic like pink zip up hoodie with no insignia on it. Like not even a little tag to say, and I'd be like, "This is the one I want." Because for me, it was always about the quality of the item and never about the branding. Like, I don't buy into that branding stuff. I don't believe in the Gucci and the Louis and, oh, I need to wear Jordans and, like, all that kind of shit. Like, no. I buy clothes from the dollar store sometimes. Like, I really don't care about branding. If it's good quality, like, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, I'm not like that.
So
I have to have a Armani on me.
I'm just saying, like, I'm anti. I guess
but
I'm
don't you rely on branding to know what the quality is?
No.
Then how do you know what's good quality?
Wear it.
Well, because I wear it. And but I also care, but I also know about different materials and stuff like that. I get what you're saying. Like, how are you going to know if it's good quality if you're not buying from the most expensive place first to be able to find out what the quality is?
I just mean, like, conceptually, like, you need branding to, like, kind of communicate to people what, like, no matter what, boil it down, forget about it. No Gap, no Nike, no nothing. It's yellow, it's low grade, mid grade, high grade. You're still gonna need to like brand the clothes in some format of these are the mid grade clothes or these are the low grade clothes. Like no matter what,
if you want to categorize qualities, sure. But as far as branding goes, no. Because there's so many companies, like, okay, I'll use an example. You have Lululemon, right? They make the pants that all the girls are wearing. You know it. We all know it. It's the brand. It's been the brand since high school. But there's also a company called Joe Fresh that makes really good leggings and athletic wear, and they're not that expensive. But the quality, in my opinion, is better than the Lululemons. And it's cheaper. So I'm saying, like, I get what you're saying, but also these cheaper brands are still making better quality than these high quality brands. So it's like, it's a waste of money.
Yes, comrade.
It's the truth. No, but it's the truth, Bailey. How many times?
Agree. No, it's the truth. It's just these are a lot of like heavy socialist changes you need to implement to like get all this shit to stop.
It's already happening in Europe. You can already see
I'm not trying to implement. I'm not trying to implement anything. Stupid people will spend money on stupid things. That's their business. I don't care. But as a consumer, as somebody like I am a consumer. I am an active buyer of items. I like to purchase things. It makes me feel happy thoughts, okay? So I get it, but for me, I'm also thinking about like how can I get the best quality items for the lowest value?
Yeah.
And so like I'm constantly Go ahead, Raza.
No, I'm like that too. I go to Winners and I just see the expensive ass. Is it? Come on, the department. I don't even have a website.
But then that's like we're victims of the neo-capitalism, right? Because our generation doesn't have enough wealth to like consider like what if we could have the
you don't have enough
opportunity
wealth. I'm kidding.
No, but that's a valid point. Is like people because we're so But it's because we're so wired into these like branded images of things.
Yeah.
We forget that like you could look just as good with less value. Like I remember my mom used to buy all of her clothes at the thrift store, and all the time people would be like, "Oh, you look so good. Your clothes are so nice. Everything you wear is so nice. You always look so nice." And she was literally just wearing like $4 dresses. I mean, it's changed now. You can't get a dress for $4, but my mom would have all these really good clothes for $4 because you just recycle. And she was just like, "Okay, like it's not that serious. I don't need to go and buy the most popular dress that all the ladies are wearing."
A lot of
You know,
kids
Yeah,
are
no,
on the same page. A lot of the
yeah.
youth are shifting with that.
nowadays we're getting
Also,
more into thrifting, but there still is a big
yeah,
culture around branding and having
fast
certain
fashion and shit like that.
items. Yeah.
It's insane because like yeah, I'm looking at because my two nieces, they're like all of our clothes are. We just went to Goodwill the other day. I was like, this is not Goodwill. I was like, yeah, we just like
Yeah.
okay. So like it's I'm glad there are a lot of people who are thinking like that now, and it is making these companies kind of scared. I have noticed that they are trying to appeal to that demographic by changing up how they
Yeah.
market and they present it. So it is some sort of small
Well,
It's the same
thing.
issue as many other industries, right? To compete now, like a Zara, is just losing so much fucking money compared to like a Fashion Nova, right? Because a Fashion Nova doesn't need to stock.
Fashion Nova.
It doesn't need to stock locations. It doesn't need to train staff. It doesn't need to have
Mm.
HR protocols for staff. It doesn't need to have security on call. It doesn't need to ship internationally inventory, right? The amount of operational costs for just running an online business is like so much lower. So a lot of these companies are floundering to still bring in consumers because they're
Yeah.
just throwing money away at staying in these malls.
Exactly.
like,
And
here's
malls
another big-
themselves charge them too. But yeah, sorry, go.
yeah. Well, it's like another big thing too with all these designer brands is like they lose value so quickly.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to own a piece of this material for so long for it to then go back up in value, but it's like it has no repurposable value is what I noticed. Like people aren't gonna have a wardrobe of expensive things and then take them in if they lose weight or make them bigger somehow or restructure them when they get old. Like they don't do that with that stuff.
Yeah. No,
So it's like it's not
that's
even like there's any reuse value on these like the fucking expensive ass products.
yeah. Which is insane. Which is insane because this is like they have built entire economy off of that one sort of like you're going to keep on buying over and over again because
Yeah.
there's no point of because you're going to ruin the article of
Yeah.
clothing. So why would you do that and spend more money because
That's
they've
like
programmed you to think that way.
exactly. And that's why like recently I've really gotten into the concept of a time capsule closet where like you just have a bunch of really good items, whether they're high value or low value, doesn't matter, just good quality items that you cycle through.
Mhm.
You know, things that can stand up to like being washed and worn and used and you know,
Right. I agree.
instead we're
I
just
just
a
have a
fast consumer.
I want to have a closet time capsule of graphic tees and see how they stand up in the year 2660.
I mean, yeah, okay.
You'll
Do
be
it.
good
What?
enough. It'll be
Do
good.
it.
You'll be good with the kid.
I
You'll be
went
by
to
the time you're
Winners.
60, it will be a vintage retro collection, and you're fine.
I went to Winners the other day and I got a bunch of graphic tees. Guess how much I spent for like 5 of them though?
$50 bucks.
50
From
bucks.
Winners?
That's exactly.
it? Oh damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing good out in these streets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go to Winners. You can just fucking
Oh,
buy
for
for
me,
your
there's
buck.
all the. I'm in hipster town. There's a bajillion stores I can go to, and they're dirt cheap. It's great.
Like, see, yeah, let's fucking go. Oh, we should. That gets me going. I love cheapness. That sounds
Yeah,
terrible. That
yeah,
sounds
it's cool.
terrible.
I got the whole variety. We got like the hipster ones that are like curated. The guy picks the stuff, and you get a pair of pants for $10, a shirt for $5.
Do you
like
guys
that.
have one of those faux pas vintage stores which you like look like they're authentic, but when you go in them, they have used clothes, right? but they're charged like really expensive for
There's
some.
ones there too. There's like one across the street that's that from the one that I like. It's like just fully
Okay.
There's like one called, I think it's Talese is what it's called in Ontario. Where they sell designer brand stuff at thrift prices, but it's not even thrift prices.
They just say it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That's wild. But I'm satisfied with that. Overall, right to repair, fight to fix your shit. Fuck the
Actually,
government.
no. I take back everything I said, and just you know what? If your shit breaks, first of all, be more responsible. Second of all, shame on you, and third of all, go to Apple or go to Samsung.
Yeah, let's
They
just
need
sell our lives
your
to
money
NVIDIA.
badly. Yeah.
Please, GPU processors, control my
Please.
life.
Yeah, can you sponsor us in a video, please? Seriously.
Yeah, hashtag rule our lives.
I want the shield.
All right, Wine Mom, what you got for us today? What true crime? Who got murdered today?
Wow. Just say it like that.
Who got moited? Does he want me to say it like that?
There's no funny way to say it, though. Who got murdered? Like that?
We closer yet?
No, you guys stress me out. Okay. Anyway.
The floor
So the last time, when we did this format the first time, it was just me and Raza. There was no Bailey. And we were like struggling for things to talk about. So I brought up the Murdaugh murders, if you remember, Raza.
Yeah.
The good old boy lawyer.
Fucking
the redhead.
Yeah.
Piece of trash.
It's kind of sketchy, dude.
Yeah. So that was happening. And at the same time that was happening, there was also a trial going on for this woman named Lori Vallow Daybell. And she was accused of killing her 2 children, one adopted, one biological, her brother, and her lover's wife, as well as her own husband.
White
That's
people
a lot.
So here's the story, right? So Lori, okay, so Lori has a daughter. Okay. Then she adopts a son from a grandmother. So she knew the biological parents of this boy, or the biological grandparents of this boy, and she adopted him because the grandparents couldn't provide for him, so he needed to be somewhere else.
Okay, some godparent shit.
Right. So she had her own biological daughter plus an adopted son.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She was married to like this fitness guy. And then she started attending church. And the pastor of the church and her started to have an affair. And then the pastor's the pastor's wife dies mysteriously.
Very.
Then this random incident happens at Lori's home with her ex-husband and her brother. Her brother ends up shooting her ex-husband. The story goes that they believe that Lori manipulated her brother into thinking that her ex-husband was coming after her, when actually that wasn't the case. Lori was manipulating and trying to trick everybody into doing her dirty work. Then her and the pastor, preacher, whatever the fuck he is, continue their little secret affair. And then all of a sudden nobody hears from Lori's children for weeks. Finally, her son's grandparents are like, yo, what's good? Because, like, we need to know. So they put out a report or whatever to try and find it. Lori's on vacation in some sunny place with her new husband that she married while there.
The pastor.
Different. The pastor. So they off each other's significance. Each other's significance get offed. They get married. Her kids are missing. Police serve her papers like, your kids are missing. We need to find them. Like, these are the papers telling you that you need to show us where your kids are within the next 24 hours or an investigation will be launched, essentially, is what they tell her. And she's like on the beach and she's like reading the paperwork, and she like literally doesn't even care what's happening. So flash forward, she ends up getting arrested, obviously, because her 2 kids are gone. And so an investigation launches and evidence comes forward. They find all these weird things. Lori believed that her and the pastor were lifelong soulmates through multiple different dimensions, lives, past lives, that they are one half of the same being. And that all the people on earth are demons, and her children were demons, and they needed to be sacrificed for the greater good.
Okay.
So her and this guy have this whole cult thing going on. They have a few followers. She gets her brother roped in.
Okay.
The husband gets kaput. The wife gets kaput. They get married. Kids are gone. Okay, this is what happens. There's a lot more details. There's a lot of very creepy text messages.
Very recent, right?
Yes.
Yeah, must be.
And this is the one did all these did interview clips and shit of this leak of like the interrogation.
Yes.
Because I've seen the clip this weekend of because you're saying the brother killed the husband, right?
And her daughter was there when that happened.
Because I was
and
seeing
so there's an interview of her daughter going around before her daughter died.
Shit, that's fucked. First off,
yeah.
RIP.
And then
I saw these interview clips with her where they were like, "Well, I didn't tell him to shoot him and kill him, but I did tell him to go shoot his shit up."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?
What does that mean?"
So Lori, right? So Lori plays this very ditzy, blonde, dumb, sweetie, Southern Belle type character, where she gets arrested by the cops and she tries to be all flirty and cute and I'm just a little pretty blonde cute thing and I don't know what's going on and I'm so innocent and everything's so weird and everything's happening to me, not because of me, kind of a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Which the interrogators are like, LOL, bitch, whatever you say. So now they've been arrested. A lot of evidence has been circulating. Stories have been going on. A trial is happening. This has been a year since before the trial started, I think. They've been waiting for the trial for maybe 2 or 3 years now. Anyway. No, 2020. So 3 years. 2020 is when they did the search and they found the children's bodies on the property in a burn pit. And so 2020 is when she was officially arrested. So because of all the multitude of crimes and the different levels of, I guess, involvement, they decided to try them both separately. So Lori's been on trial, but Mr. Daybell, I can't remember what his first name is, he is going to be on a different trial. So they just did Lori's trial.
What happened to their cult?
Yeah.
Everybody just kind of dismantled because it wasn't really a cult. It was kind of a large group of friends that were doing culty type things. And then people who were a part of the friend group were like, this is feeling kind of culty. We should start backing out. And they started to confront her and back out and ask her questions and confront her ideology. Thank you. Started to confront her ideologies. And challenge her on her opinions and be that's not in the Bible. That's not in the Bible. One of her best friends actually gave a deposition and she recorded a conversation between her and Lori where she calls her out and says, "Where are the kids?" And she's like, "They're safe. They're in a better place. Things are better for them. And I did what I needed to do to take care of them. And one day, when God comes, you're going to understand that I did the right thing." And very much that kind of weird culty stuff.
Okay. So
I think if you haven't looked at anything on this, Raza, do you go on YouTube? Look up a little hour-long video and watch.
A little bit mortified.
Yeah, she's called the Doomsday Cult Mom, is what they call her.
Yeah, I think this is what I heard about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, his name is Chad. His name was Chad.
Of course.
Lori and Chad. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, she's been on trial. She's been on trial for however long now. She has been found guilty.
Yep.
And she has been sentenced.
She looks like a fucking one of those type. Okay, yeah.
How many movies are being made about her?
There's a docu-series already, I think.
50.
Yeah.
It says about
so
here. Okay, I have it here, but do you want me to?
Yeah,
read it?
wait till I'm finished telling you the story, then you can do that.
All right.
So, I'm just taking this off CNN because I didn't have it like written down. It says a jury has found Idaho mother Lori Vallow Daybell guilty on all counts of killing her 2 children and conspiring in the murder of her husband's first wife. She pleaded not guilty and was charged with 2 counts of first degree and 3 counts of conspiracy in 2019 deaths of her 17-year-old daughter and 7-year-old son, as well as Tammy Daybell, which is the first wife of Chad, her husband. Jeez. She is facing the possibility of life in prison, and it's looking like they haven't sentenced her yet.
Right.
So.
Well, I was just.
But it was unanimous, by the way. But yes, go ahead, Raza.
She hasn't been sentenced yet, but she faces life in prison. But the judge says she could get about 3 months.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah. Then it says here the couple did endorse and espouse religious beliefs on the purpose of justifying encouraging the killings of the children and Tammy in 2021 indictment. Because this is the thing is like I still really don't understand indictments, and I'm trying to learn them. But essentially, an indictment is like there's so much undeniable evidence that we don't need to go through a whole deposition, and like we don't need to ask a whole bunch of prodding questions and have a series of events go on. Instead, they can just take you right to trial.
Right.
And they're doing that. They're doing that in the Idaho to avoid the living roommates from having to do a deposition or stand on the witness stand. So they just indicted him to like it's kind of like a fast track in a weird way. It's kind of hard to explain. It's hard to understand.
Yeah. I'm still grasping my head around it, but this Chad guy I'm reading, he's apparently an avid prepper. Also like a doomsday thing, Bailey.
A doomsday, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also published
sounds Alex Jonesy to me, if I had to say.
Yeah, also published a fiction about Mormons struggling to survive an apocalyptic future with the United States in collapse. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a bunch of there was a bunch of weird text messages between them talking about like God's will and like they have supposed to be together and do these things because they're meant to like, whatever the world. And it's just like it's so weird. Like they've taken these sort of concepts that exist in spirituality in like a beautiful, nice way and like warped it with religion into this weird, sick, sadistic way.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how that happens, right? Because spirituality is so fucking weird, but religion makes sense.
My brain is melted to it because I be keeping up with the Alex Jones, and that's just constantly what he does. Just uses religion to terrify people of they're demons. They're coming.
It's just like this very fear-mongering bullshit, which is like why cult stuff is so intriguing because it's like the way that people kind of like follow along fear-mongering.
He's a beauty pageant.
And like we learned a lot about that with COVID about the fear-mongering stuff, but it's so crazy just to see how people manipulate it.
And how you can like end up down a tunnel so easily, right? Like it could easily be someone who's like a COVID denier who is also religious, but then there are people at the church kind of disagree with them now. And then you bump into this Chad guy who totally agrees with you, and he believes in Jesus too. So maybe I'll hear some of his wacky ideas out,
Yeah, it's like
check the thing I dropped on Discord. This is her being handed.
It's like people who fearmonger, who complain about fearmongering and then fearmonger back. Yeah, that's the video. She's like she's at her honeymoon in Hawaii with Chad, and she was given those papers, and she was just like, okay, whatever. Like I'm on my vacation. Kids are dead in my backyard. I don't care. That's literally what she's like sitting there doing. And like, so I've watched that video. If you haven't, like sits up and pretends to read it, and then Chad just like grabs it out of her hands to read it, because like I think he's just like has a little bit more law knowledge than she does. She's clearly like his little dumb arm candy manipulator dummy.
Yeah.
And he's dead, right?
You know? No, he's not. He's gonna stand trial next.
Oh,
Chad
headline
Daybell.
wrong then.
Because her original last name is, which is from her.
Oh, with her husband. I thought it said and. I'm dyslexic. And.
Yeah, no.
I'm
So that's the thing, is they keep calling Chad her husband because they're married, but it's like they really shouldn't call him that because it's confusing. But it's so sad because it's like, even when the son was adopted, the reason why the grandparents even gave them to that family was because of Lori's late husband. Because they loved him so much, because they met him somewhere and they loved him so much, and that's why they ended up being like, okay, we can trust you with our grandson.
Oh, he looks weird too, eh? Holy fuck.
Chad? Yeah, he kind of looks like a weird sausage.
Yeah, he does, man. It just, so like, I just want to make a commentary about what just happened. Bailey and I presented two social text and stuff, and then Y Mom was like, "Bugger, this person had a cult, and she did all this fucked up shit." I was like, "That's insane." Now, every time you tell me about a cult thing, Wine Mom, after the podcast, I spent about like an hour or 3 just digging it, because then.
So welcome to my life, Raza, because this knowledge that I have, that I bring when I tell, like, I've been watching these trials for weeks. I've been following these stories for months.
Right.
Like, picking up little bits of information. Like, I didn't even tell you about the Delphi. They ended up finding the guy who did that, the Delphi murders, and tell you about that, which that's crazy, and it has a lot of like Snapchat technology, and like, because there's so many things when it comes to like criminology and like laws and stuff, where it's like things that you think would be meant to protect you are like probably the worst things for you. And you think like technology is supposed to be the thing that protects you, but because of copyrights and the way that companies protect their data, even though we think that they don't, but the way that they protect their data from law enforcement or third-party seekers is crazy. And it could be a change between solving your murder or not. Because like, so in the Delphi thing, there was some Snapchat videos, and like the lawyers, or not the lawyers, the detectives had to go through all of these hoops and like have this like back and forth with Snapchat to get access to like basic data. And it's like, you can't, like, you and me, like, let's say we like wrote on a piece of paper and signed it. It was like, if I die, give all my personal data to whoever's trying to solve my crime. Even if you wrote that and signed it, it means shit, because the company ultimately has to say, because it's their data that we've given them, so it's not really our data.
Right. Yeah. But, yeah. If you look in the fine print, it actually says they own the data there. If you like, sign up and stuff,
right. So what I'm saying, as to not get stuck on the technology track, is like, through all this research and like watching all these videos and paying attention to this type of content, like, I've learned so much about the law and like how things are really set up for you to fail, and like how crazy it is that you can get away with some absurd shit. Like, there's a high possibility that her husband may get out of this jail free. Like, he may be okay, because it's all her family that was ultimately destroyed. And unless you can prove, because the rumor mill is that he had been slowly poisoning his wife with I think it was like fentanyl or something like that. He had slowly been giving her like too much and like keeping her weak and woozy, and then he just kind of took it overboard and like blamed it on her for having like an addiction or something like that. That's the rumor. So it's like, unless they prove that that's genuinely the case, like, they don't really have anything on him, unless they can confirm that he did co-conspire with Lori to take out her children and her husband. Like, he may be good to go. And like, their text messages, because I've read some of their text messages back and forth, are just full of like a bunch of weird sexually explicit Bible stuff. between
Yeah.
their connection and their relationship, and a lot like they talk a lot about like aliens and
Oh,
being
cool.
like interdimensional spiritual beings, which is
Hmm.
so crazy because like people are interdimensional spiritual beings, but not in this weird perverted way that they're trying to justify what they did.
Yeah. No, I was reading. He apparently played out scenes from his book, the romantic scenes, and
Yeah.
that's what I think. What the
Yeah.
Bible sending, I think that's all tied in there because he's also kind of a weird individual where like it's just like I
Yeah.
think he control and power.
Exactly.
Whatnot. But this is why I think cults are a case to study, and yeah, and like if you want I don't know, man, it's insane how like people think it's so easy to get away with things when they're in the cult, and I also think they feel they have that sort of like immunity
Yeah.
when they do it, like the that one cult. I forget what it's called now, but there was one in the
Oh,
80s,
I
the
also
90s.
forgot. I also forgot Lori has an older son, like a much
Yeah,
older son.
he
And
survived. That's what they
yeah,
were.
yeah. And he's come out against his mom, and like there's been some video, or not video, some audio of him fighting with his mom about like, mom, like where are they, like what did you do? And that's the thing that's like super crazy about this case is like this is probably one of the first cases, maybe ever, but maybe in a long time, that has so much like audio data of or evidence, I guess I should say, of Lori just like spewing the most crazy, toxic, psychotic, the fucking not in this world bullshit from her mouth to try and justify like where she is and what she's done and how things are happening. And that's been a wild thing to
Yeah,
see, because
but if
she's so emotionless, Raza. I'm saying, like, go and listen to the conversation between her and her best friend. She has
mhm.
zero remorse, not even a shred of emotion. She literally, it's like talking to a psychiatrist, I guess, where they don't have any um there's no fluctuation to their tonality. It's like flat,
So,
and it is what it is.
so then, um, is this was she a sociopath or like brainwashed to be obsessed with this guy?
That's what I
In your
asked.
true crime opinion.
Honestly, it's that kind of stuff is a really hard down. The terminology of a sociopath is so easily thrown around nowadays, and it doesn't even actually result to what it actually is. Like there's a lot of sociopathic people who live very long lives never committing any kind of bullshit like this.
Oh,
But
really?
I think with her there was already a predisposition to be this way. Like I think there was
Hmm.
something in her that like she was waiting for somebody to bring this out of her or to find an opportunity to be authentic in that way. And when
Yeah.
she met Chad, it's just like what triggered her to be that way. And I think he gave her the safe space to be that person. So I think part of it is like, I think she just kind of was looking for her opportunity, but also he nurtured that part of her that she had been maybe holding back. And he made it like he manipulated her slightly by making it more acceptable by using her weakness of like believing in religion and spirituality and stuff like that, and use that as like a gateway to sort of like make it acceptable for the things that she was thinking and feeling to do. So there's
Yeah.
like a combination between the two of them, I think.
And I
Yeah.
think it's easy because if she exhibits this behavior, I think it's easy to show like an insanity thing, and then like the defense can or like lean in on that, and then who knows, that may help her case. Like it's I think the American justice system and cults are like almost like it's like I don't know. It's just like a weird mix. It
Yeah.
on paper it should be, yeah. The American justice system is supposed to work to stop this, but with the terminology and the wording and the laws, like the specifics, it's easy to like get loopholes and
And
whatnot.
it's a weird, like, the way it's been historically handled. Like, as I say, I watch Alex Jones in the nut job right wing. And the thing is, like, literally, it sounds like a news stereotype, but since Waco, the crazy people use that as even more of a reason you shouldn't trust the government and other outside sources because they're all just going to kill us if they know what we believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, it's like
trippy
using
because the
fear.
way society, sorry, it's like you need to figure out how society can outcast these, but in a way that doesn't make it like a further reason to join them or underground trendy thing to find, you know?
Hmm.
Have you seen that the show Waco? Waco, what is it called?
I was trying
Wild.
to. No, I haven't.
You
Waco,
should
no.
watch it,
I've been
both of you.
trying to. I was just trying to Google because I was curious of like how she pleaded. So it's like a lot of the times people will plead like not guilty due to insanity or just straight up like not guilty. And I was wondering if she pled not guilty to something because she was given a mental evaluation to confirm that she was able to stand trial. And that's a big thing too that I think people don't take into consideration. Like this woman wants you to think she's crazy because she believes in all these things. But it's like you can still be like of sound mind and still believe little kooky concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like
Uh,
the way, because like this is something I don't really talk about often when I talk about trials and stuff, but like her behavior, because over the years I've started to get into a lot more of um what's it called, body language
right?
behavioralist, and
Yeah.
it's like it's so crazy to see the little things that people do that indicate their guilt or lack thereof, whatever the case may be, and it's just like her behavior, like she's really trying to portray this like sweet southern belle little like young impressionable thing, and it's like you're like a fucking almost 50-year-old woman, dude.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Yeah. I know, but like, she won a pageant, so I think that stuck with her.
Yeah.
I know wealthy white women who are delusional
Attaboy!
enough.
Ooh, 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 ooh,
Yeah,
ooh,
you know one of
ooh.
them, but that are delusional enough in their reality that if the right people came with poisonous ideas, you could slowly. They're already self-absorbed to a point that you could slowly manipulate their reality. That it's it. I think it's what's also terrifying is with the cult thing in that aspect of like she seems very aware of it, like solid of mind, and like if she was able to hold a decent relationship like that. So okay, though, yeah, all right, yeah, precedence here then, wine mom. What she did that? Was there any history or signs of it previously? Is they what they
Mm.
did? They were like, oh, she was crazy back then, or was there? She just snapped after she met the pastor.
No, she just kind of like this was just out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden she started being really weird towards her like husband and family and stuff. I really think like she had
Interesting.
all these thoughts because this is the thing. Like I think she's had all of these thoughts and opinions in her head, but she never met anybody who validated them. And
Yeah.
then when she met Chad, it all became validated for her. And like here's the thing too with their relationship. So Lori is by all means like, you know, prison has not done her any favors, but she was a very petite, blonde, like fit, beautiful woman, and like Chad is not. And it's like there's this underlying thing of like, oh, well, Lori used her charm and her beauty to like trick Chad. And it's like, no, I think this beautiful woman like fell for somebody who saw something in her heart or in her body or whatever versus like her physical features. And I think that's like it just kind of like they just fed off each other and it just like went like wildfire. Like I'm gonna show you a picture of what
Intriguing.
they look like when they first got
Oh my
together.
god. Okay, I have a video that's like for the jail phone call. I'll listen to it afterwards, but that's in.
Like, look at this
That's just
photo of the two of
intriguing.
them. So this will show you what she looked like before she was in jail, and like when the two of them met each other, and you're gonna be like, oh,
Yeah,
like
I'd be creeping. I see. Yeah.
They are not playing for the same teams. They play different leagues.
He probably has a personality.
No, but that's what I mean. Is like he saw something in her that she had been holding on to. She wasn't comfortable sharing yet, and he pulled that out of her, and that's why they ended up together.
The guy's neck goes into his chin.
So I'm saying,
But
like, he just
I'm
looks
not
like
about to body
Farmer
shame
Tim.
there. Yeah, yeah. It's
And she
whenever.
this like bleach blonde, like this woman's in the salon every week, every 2
Yeah,
weeks, getting her hair done, like makeup, brows, like all the kind of, like she's a much more like prissy little princessy bitch.
exactly. And
Yeah,
then
man.
you see where she's come from too.
The tunnel vision of reality. It's just crazy because we had the whole tech talks that everything's so interconnected and you can still get so isolated.
Yeah.
So
I
insular.
yeah,
Fucking shit.
that's
It's
yeah.
weird.
It's just like because it's just like tech makes tech can it pulls us together, but it can also push us
But
further
it's like
away.
even
Yeah.
with this like trial too, it's like she
There's
really
a lot
tried to
of books.
pretend. She really tried to pretend that like she didn't do anything and she was manipulated, and like she just like whatever, she lives in this like fantasy world, but it's like she was stealing money from the kids on top of it, like money that was meant for the kids. So like after they were gone, instead of, because this is the thing that I don't think a lot of people think about, is like when you get social security checks for elderly people in your home, if you don't report their death, you continue to get those security checks, and a lot of people will continue to cash them, and that is fraud and theft, and that's like
Yeah.
really bad. Like, and so she was essentially doing that with the children because there was certain checks and stuff coming for her, social security stuff, and she kept it.
Oh, for
And it's
God's
like,
sake,
you mean to
Raza.
tell me, but it's like, you mean to tell me that means you had no idea when you murdered them? You just had no idea. Oh, I didn't know, but I continued to cash the checks for them. Like, further incriminating yourself. And this is like such a common thing. Like, criminals are so fucking smart, but also so fucking stupid. Like, they make
Yeah.
the stupidest little fucking mistakes. Like, I'm not even gonna get into it yet when the Idaho finally goes to trial, which I think we've got like another few months before it goes to trial. I think it's like it'll be winter, I think, by the time it goes to trial. But like, there's all this talk about cell phone evidence, and it's like, if you do a certain, because this is where people are so stupid, is if you use your phone in a certain ritual every day, because here's the thing, we all have cell phone rituals. Like, you wake up in the morning, you check your phone, and then you go to the bathroom, and then you're on 30 minutes, and then you're not on your phone for 4 hours, then you are on your phone for an hour on break. Like, those are your normal habits with your phone, and guess what, your phone remembers all of that stuff.
Right.
Your cell phone provider sees when your text messages are coming in and out. They know what your phone activity is like. And then on the day you commit a crime, or you're accused of committing a crime, all of a sudden your cell phone has been turned off for 24 hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
I always noticed that too. Like, they don't ever like keep a normal like things aren't normal. They just immediately act different. And one of the first things in every single murder report that I have seen in my life, the first thing, and one of the consistent thing is like the cell phone was turned off for X amount of days.
Yes.
They were unreachable for X amount of days. It's like,
yes. Like, there's this one guy in particular, which is this case is like a long. I've been researching it for probably like, I want to say like maybe 5 or 6 years. I've been invested in this case, and I've listened to a lot of interviews with this guy. So his name is Israel Keys, and he's from Alaska. There are rumors that he may have traveled through Canada, but mostly through Alaska and the States. Is where he committed a lot of his stuff, and Anchorage, Alaska is where he was from. But he lived such a contractor type lifestyle, very chaotic, very all over the place, that he was able to commit these crimes like it almost perfectly. Because it wouldn't be weird for him based off his traditional behavior, his well exhibited long-term, he always never changed. So like he was known to like turn his cell phone off and then go out into the forest for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's
so when
smart.
his phone was off for 12 hours, nobody was surprised. When he would quite often take rental cars and go between towns and cities in order to save mileage on his own car. That was part of his habit. And he continued to do that, and it aided in his ability to commit crimes.
Yeah.
So it's like successful for lack of a better term, but also like it just goes to show you like how stupid people get the second they commit a crime is they start like immediately overthinking and doing all these weird things.
I knew a lot of people who used to make money doing not so good things in the streets, and they had a big fishing hobby, and they used to go to the cottage a lot. So then when they're in town and they're going for a 6-hour drive and they lose signal, it's what I'm just going to my cottage. What do you mean?
Yeah, so like it's just like all the smart ones just create a schedule, and that's what makes them psychotic.
That's why like when people see like, because it's always crazy to me like people that get caught committing crimes, at least nowadays, are not the smartest bunnies like people think they are. Because there's people out there. That's what I'm saying. There's people out there who are doing these same things and they're not getting caught. It's like when you talk about like the integration of technology and how quickly that can ruin a crime spree. And we've seen that. I shouldn't even be saying this, but we see that with Dennis Rader, who is BTK. Like he ultimately got caught due to the progression of technology and because he was continuing. And this is where having a habit that he normally had kind of fucked him. But he got caught through technology. So essentially what happened is he had a floppy disk of information. And he said to the police, sent them a letter, and he was like, if I send you this floppy disk, you know, tell me the truth. Don't fuck with me. If I send you this floppy disk, can you track back to me? And they said, if that's the case, if you cannot track back to me, put a letter or put an ad in the paper saying like, good to go, Roger, or something like that. This idiot took the fucking floppy disk, which had all the data from his church that he went to because he was a God-fearing man, and then took that data into a public library where he uploaded his manifestos, his little pictures and videos to the floppy disk, and then handed it into the, and they traced it back to the library and then from there to the church and found him.
Interesting. Dummy, but interesting.
But it's like how, but see, he's not the smartest guy. But he's been quoted to be so fucking smart. He's not.
Yeah, it's just like I think when you're like, oh, I've done so much, nothing can stop me. Let me just play with fire a little bit. He flew too close to the sun, essentially.
Well, and it's crazy because he was also an ex-cop. He was also an ex-cop. So you thought that you'd think he'd be a bit smarter than that. It's because, like, do you remember? Actually, I think we should stop talking about it because I'm just going to keep going, so I should stop.
The thing is, we are at a good time point to call it if you're feeling cozy.
I have so much in this bank of knowledge. Like, I could talk about true crime stuff forever.
You can bring a new one each week. That can be your stick if you want.
Why mom?
I mean, I know I can, but I'm just trying to explain, like, I just think, like, you can still be a serial killer and get away with it. Not that I'm trying to encourage that, but it's just crazy to see how it could work. And like, there are people who have lived long lives, like Joseph James D'Angelo. He lived a very long, very, very long life, and he was an ex-cop, and he was an ex-cop at multiple divisions and almost caught multiple times, but still managed to weasel through, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's. So me and Raza were both binging The Barry. We were binging The Barry.
Oh yeah, why mom? We'll watch this show. You would fucking love this show, by the way.
Is this the one with the guy from
SNL?
Bill Hader.
Oh no, I don't know that. Okay.
Please watch
I
it.
thought you were just
It's
talking
it's like a
about
dark comedy. It's a dark
Yeah, it's
comedy.
very
but
funny. It's
what
very
it uses is
really
one of the
fuck you in the
comedy
time trip. The
tools.
time trip works. Fuck you in the time trip. It works.
It feels rushed. So what works about it though, and it's dark humor, because I mentioned again people that I knew that did nefarious things, of like the humor, but it's also like very blunt of like how nonchalant everything can be. Like he's just murdering people in daylight because he's
Yeah.
in suburbia and no one's like
Yeah.
actually looking. He just walks up to the house and goes in, and it's not a problem. And it's part of the
And it also
joke,
goes-
but it's emphasizing like how much nobody's actually watching.
And the
But,
cops too. The cops as well. They're like completely like away, disconnected from the situation.
But it's crazy because it's so true at how those concepts reign true. Like Ed Gein. I think it was Ed Gein. Was it Ed Gein? No, Ed Kemper was close friends with the police department. Like they knew of him and they were like, "Oh, he's this like big dumb sweet guy, like he's not a problem." But yet he had been taking out teenagers like candy. That's what I'm saying. Like it's crazy how like that show you're talking about, like yeah, if you have enough confidence and you could do it. Dude, I'm telling you.
Or if you're hot like Ted Bundy.
Well, that guy.
It's confidence.
Yeah.
Ted was smart. Was smart too, though. He used a fake cast to get girls to help him put stuff in his car so he could knock him out.
The cast may be fake, but the swag was real. So
That
real, it's killer. The Riz is killer.
But he also had. But also he had one of the. Not one of, I guess. Well, one of the coolest prison breaks out of the multitude that he didn't have. He had the multiple.
Which
but
one?
Of the coolest one for me. Yeah, so I'll tell this last story and then we'll carry on, close it up or whatever. So my like favorite jail escape story is like Ted shows you like the manipulation and like the. So he decided to represent himself in his case because that gave him access to a library where it had windows in the courthouse. And so what he would do is in his bunk, he would stand on the top bunk and he would jump off the top bunk. And he would do that just like for hours to strengthen his ankles so that when he went to the courthouse where there was minimal to no security and he requested to be put in the library to study for his case, which he's legally allowed to do, when there was nobody watching, he would jump out the window. And because he had strengthened his ankles, he'd be able to jump out and immediately run without breaking something to give him like a head start, because it gave him like a decent head start because nobody thought he would do that. Like, why would you jump out of a second story window?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Fucking.
No, but think about the forethought that goes into that. Like, oh, I'm gonna represent myself because I'm gonna get access to this library in this place to be able to do this thing, and then I'm going to condition myself. I'm gonna recondition my body to withstand, weight at such a great pressure in order to escape.
It's like at that point it's all like. Or like I remember watching the documentary and saying at that point he was doing it because people were into that and he wanted to be. I mean, he would also wanted to escape, but he also felt like people were watching him and it gave him more of a purpose, or like not a purpose, but like it was.
I mean, Ted definitely just enjoyed being the center of attention.
Yeah,
for sure, and that's a big factor in why he did what he did. After getting caught. Why he did what he did after getting caught.
Yeah.
But it's just like these guys are not as crazy. Like they just had some dumb circumstances where they were able to use a little bit of ingenuity, but they're definitely not geniuses.
They're the thing about being smart and being a genius. Smart is one thing and genius is another thing, right?
Exactly.
And, like they're smart in murder. But they're not a genius in.
They just have really weird hobbies that they are really good at.
Yeah, I wouldn't say murder is a hobby. I would say it's a passion.
I would.
Okay.
A passion project, maybe. I think passion project is a better passion project. No, but actually though, passion, like being a serial killer is a passion project. I think like unironically works.
Yeah, I like to create things when I'm passionate. project
Yeah.
on something.
Create
And
a few.
taking life away is sort of the opposite of my
Yeah.
whole process.
I mean, maybe
I'm
ask
you're
ask
giving
Ed, 'cause
back to God. You're giving
Allah.
souls back to Allah.
Yeah, so I walked into that one, didn't I?
yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. No, but murderers are fucked. So every other Monday, if you guys want to know about the murderer of the week, you know where to find them, right?
Yeah,
Right?
totally, definitely.
Wine Mom.
Here, yeah,
Murder.
Wine Mom.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait,
This is your
what?
stick now. This is it.
This is your
This is all.
yeah. This
This
is
is
what
all
you're
we
That
gonna
want
I'm
to
a
hear
find.
about.
murderer. I'm into murder stuff.
Yeah. yeah.
You're the murder.
I mean,
corner.
fine. I've literally come home after like 4 most recent big cases.
That
I'm not
sounds
even,
insane.
dude. There's cases I have in my brain that I've done for years on my pre-cast that have things that have happened in them that will absolutely shatter your brain.
When I think about things, I'd like to think about me being the main character of many of these things. I
Yeah,
don't
so
see
put
anything
yourself in the shoes. That's what I'm saying.
of a murderer.
Shattered. Yeah, like pretend that you're like put your mind in
Nah,
one or the
I'm
other
okay
place.
with that. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm physically
doesn't
all.
sound healthy.
I'm mentally all
Honestly,
here. Mentally, I'm all. I can't.
I just really like psychology of the human mind, and it's
That's
like
fair.
crime is probably the best way to get information on psychology because it's such a wide variety of psychology is why we do these things. Also,
Yeah.
since now Bailey's very much done with this conversation, in the
I gotta pee.
background,
I gotta pee.
I
That's
know,
what...
I know. In the background, Raza, I can hear all the birds in your backyard.
And I can see the
Yeah.
guy climbing in the window.
They stopped, but when you were talking earlier, I could hear them behind your.
Yeah, I have a tree out here, and then we also have a bird feeder here too. So
Yeah.
could deal with that. It's great.
I'm
I
jealous,
hear birds every
though,
morning.
so.
You wanna? At 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. every night.
I don't
hear
care.
them now.
I love it.
I get the shock.
That's my favorite
I'm still
part.
sleeping here.
Do
Still
they
sleeping.
ever? Do they ever
Yeah,
like
it's my favorite
fly
part about
together
North.
into? They fly together into like a swarm and then make the shape of a person and try to spook you in the morning.
Have you ever not lived in a small town before, Bailey? Because that happens all the time.
What llama land do you guys live in?
I live in a town where bird attacks are common.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's called the Niagara. Shit, I don't
Mind
have.
you, he's
I
only
don't have a good
last
one.
time Bailey's been here. It was in 2015.
No, it was later than that, you dick.
Oh, 2017.
All right, little
Oh.
boys, enough fighting.
We're not fighting. He's just being a bitch.
You're
Go to
fighting.
piss, Bailey.
You're a bitch. You're a big old bitch, Raza.
All right.
Tell the audience what they need so we can close out. Tell them where to find us.
Oh,
tell,
shit.
Tell them where they should be.
On our socials, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube's the P Hub, all that. We be there hitting bars and sucking the sweet life out of that content dick.
Penis.
Peener.
That's what you love to hear it. You love to hear it.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
Bailey.
June, so
End it out.
Alright,
Go to the bathroom.
I'm putting it. Do you want me to end it or let's chat it?
I'm saying go so you can go to the bathroom.
Okay, I'm putting
Whatever
on
that
let's
is,
chat.
do
I'm
it.
putting on let's chat and you guys decide how long we're going.
like my nuts, Bailey.
Mics are still on.
Oh, whoops. Not. I actually don't care. I don't care.
Damn.
Damn.
I'm absolutely shredded right now, dude.
In the game.
No.
Oh, mentally, like because you're toasted. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Bro, I've been so this whole time. I'm only just now starting to come. I don't even know how I remember to tell you all that information because yeah.
You're insane. Because you're insane. It's also because
Insane in the
you're able to hold that. I had to write that shit down because I knew I was gonna forget it.
The thing is, like, I just spend so much time consuming this information that a lot of the details just become like cohesive through case to case, so you just kind of like easier to remember. It's weird. It's like coding in a weird way.
Coding?
Yeah, like where you remember certain commands and stuff, and like you'll just never forget them. So like certain, it's like certain stereotypes or specifics of crimes like are the same through each crime. Like, yeah.
No, I 100%, because that's like when you start to actually pay attention to shit. It starts
Exactly.
to, your brain starts to like memorize stuff, which never happens to me.
Yeah, but I want you to on your own, because I feel like it's more fun to do this on your own.
It is.
Like look into the Israel Keys case.
Okay.
Like try and find yourself a little synopsis of that. There's like hundreds of hours of interrogation footage available online for you to watch of him being interrogated by the head detectives. And that guy, like it's wild. Like it's actually wild.
Jesus Christ, man.
And like the way that he committed his crimes, Raza, like he was so smart. Like him getting caught was purely because he got lazy and like sporadic at the end.
Oh, and he all right. He didn't get the death penalty, but he,
No.
No.
Weird, yeah, okay. And he has a daughter.
This guy
has a daughter, and here's the thing. I know he has a daughter, and he's also like a great dad. By all means, like everybody who knows him, he's like literally like such a great dad. Like loves his daughter very much, and like is just like everything is for her, about her. Like even a lot of the situations in where he committed certain acts, he had to like change a lot of things around in order to accommodate his daughter's life. So like he went like long periods where he would pause because he was primarily responsible for taking care of his daughter because his ex was an alcoholic.
Oh shit.
And like he also never planned on having kids and didn't want kids and thought that would ruin his life. And he is a narcissist. Like he doesn't feel true emotion for like people in his life. Like he uses people as a ladder. But his daughter was like a totally different thing, and he had this very like, I don't think like he loved her, but I don't think he loved her, and he just had this much like utilitarian point of view on his existence in her life as to be like certain provider and do certain things. But yeah, I don't know. And he grew up Mormon too. It's like another added factor. Yeah, it's crazy. Like that story, Raza. Like you'll be like you'll just be so confused because it's just wild.
He had to like. His mother was super religious. Yeah. And he had to like
a cult.
Yeah, he comes from a very weird background.
Yeah.
And he killed a cat when he was young.
He did a lot more than that.
Well, I'm reading the Wikipedia article.
Well, it's like it's what's crazy is like I've actually listened to him himself describe his very first like gateway crime where he attacked another human being, like his very first gateway. And it's like the way he describes it is so creepy and weird. And it's like to think about how, because like he even breaks down all of the logics as to like who, what, when, where, how he decided to do all of these things. Like he thought it out to a point where he would never get caught, but he should have been caught. But because of the way that things were back then, that crime was not reported.
Right. Okay. Yeah, makes sense, because it's like no Facebook, no Twitter and stuff like that. It's just things were a lot
circulate.
slower.
Yeah, don't circulate like they do.
Yeah, you ready? You want a creepy story? Raza?
Yeah, sure.
I won't make any names obvious.
I'm gonna go pee, but I'm still listening.
Okay.
When I was in high school, right? Like when I was younger, I found out about a kid who was murdering pets and keeping trophies from it. Right?
Cool.
And so I snitched to the appropriate places, right?
Okay.
And then they did a wellness check on this human, and they found the trophies that he said he had, but none of it. When you were young? Right? Yeah, when I was younger, like when I was a teenager. And they found all the stuff, right? Nothing done, though, right? Because it's not a crime. They couldn't find that they couldn't prove whose pets it was that he was killing, and no one had like wanted to charge for killing pets. So even though it's like this massive indicator of like what might be to come of this human, it's also like, well,
do I
tough dice. Go on back to high school, buddy. Have a good finish your degree.
Do I know who that is?
I don't think so. I don't know. Just some random kid. I don't know. Maybe.
Some random kid.
Well, not random anymore.
Yeah, it was like through the nonprofit stuff. I would rather not go deeper into that publicly.
That's crazy.
Fantastic. I don't know.
So that was like creepy, right? I saw that shit starting. I snitched about it. I pointed it out, and they couldn't do a thing.
Rat.
It was after that, because he was saying some weird shit. And then he was like, yeah, and I do this. And I'm like, oh, I know what that means. I'm telling somebody. I'm telling.
Tattletaling.
Now no one to trust Bailey with anything. I'm gonna go question.
You start telling me about you fucking killing animals in the woods and keeping their trophies. I'm gonna tell
Bailey?
some mental health specialists. You know.
No, I'd be like, hey Bailey, I feel sad. Can't. Oh wait, no, he tattletaled on somebody. You just sold yourself out, Bailey. You don't.
Right. I'm fine with tattletaling on potential serial killers, dog.
You just go with it. You just go with it.
I'm a civilian. I ain't involved in no nonsense. I'm operating by a civilian code. I think it's perfectly fine to snitch on a serial killer.
You're a white guy. You're fine. You're fine. If anything, it's on the receiving end that aren't fine of that.
So it's just shit was crazy. It's like, yeah, okay, you can't do anything. Cool, makes sense. Yeah, let's just send him back to school.
Yeah, no, that's insane though. Have you spoken to this human since?
No, I just realized as we're talking about all this, I should go creep. But I know they just became an adult and went along their merry old life. Just like this lingering thing I know about them in the background.
You just meet them up at like a bar or something. Hey, man, how's it going? In the back of here, like, you killed animals. I don't know, man. I want to be in this open environment where people see me. That's all I want people.
Yeah, it's like.
Hey, do you want to come over? No. Let's stay here. I wanna. Let's get a bartender. Another round on me, and then you get him really drunk, and he just admits something.
No walk on the beach, please.
You don't want sex on the beach? Why is that?
Only with you, honey.
Okay, come on, man.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, man. I'm spoken for. Allah.
Oh.
No, not like that. Not like that. No, not like that. I mean, the God, the one and only, the Almighty. We're in a platonic relationship with faith.
Yes.
So what have you losers been up to on the week? Oh, shut up, Bailey. What have you losers been up to on the weekend? Nothing. How's I know Bailey's selling shit, hustling, slanging a dope.
My friend hit a pole. I think I said this beforehand, but yeah, I was teaching my friend how to drive, and they hit a pole.
Nice.
So it was quite entertaining.
Were you
know
mad?
what I'm doing, Raza?
Tears of the Kingdom. Why mom's like Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, why mom's building giant penis statues.
No, I accidentally, but I did accidentally stay up till 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Gaming is great, buddy.
What time it was.
Yeah, totally healthy for you. Not an addiction. I could totally stop when I want to stop.
Yeah.
I was in the zone, bro.
You're just gonna get off on that? Come on, man.
Sometimes you zone in, bro.
Sometimes you have to do it.
I was just in the zone of my 40 of whiskey, man. Come on, give me a break. I was just in the zone.
That's not the same thing, Bailey.
I know, I was fucking around. I had to, though.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's cool. Bailey taught somebody how to drive. Now they're gonna have PTSD.
No, hold on. Bailey taught someone how to get in.
How to get into an accident and stay calm. That's what I taught them. It's a valuable lesson.
So the first thing you did was teach. Okay, so let's first break down what he taught them. Taught them how to rack up what's the word? Demerit points, and then stayed calm after they have racked up those demerit points.
Jesus. Jeez.
I mean, like I've come a far away from when I started to drive. Now I'm just like, yeah, no way. Raza Malik is on the road. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I see my dad angry driving, and I'm just like, I'm not. I can't. It seems too dangerous. You can just press on something, and a car will just go in front and hit something. So I'm just like,
see, I can definitely be a bit of an angry driver.
Yeah.
But every driver instructor that I've ever had has been like, you're a very intuitive driver.
Oh, nice. I was just called skilled.
I get pissy sometimes, but I got way over the road rage several years ago. It's just not worth it. I just
must be nice. Let me know.
You feel like a child after you do it.
It's just like when people go under speed limit. That's what like kind of annoys me. I'm not. It's like they're. It's just. I get it. You're old. That's fine.
You're old.
Maybe.
That's fine.
That's fine, but maybe go at least 10 under, not 20 under or 5 under. How about that? Not going a 40 and a 60.
Or like drive on the side roads then.
Yeah. Or something like that. Yeah, they've added much more. They're now adding a lot more 80s here, to deal with that. And it isn't just old people. I must say it's a myriad of. I just specifically slow drivers. I'm not a fan of. Even quick drivers. I'm not a fan about it. I hate when people.
No.
Tailing me, and I'm going like. I'm the problem.
No, here is the problem.
Oh, okay.
The driving in the downtown core, the speed limit is like 40. So 50 is fast for those people. But all those people left the downtown core and started moving out into north areas. And so they're driving on 60 roads at 40 and 50.
Yeah.
When they should be doing 70.
Yeah. We're just saying numbers now. It doesn't even matter.
75, maybe 80 would be preferred, but that's just...
Yeah. Roads are here the 60, but general rule of thumb 100.
Speed is a suggestion, not a requirement. Okay?
It's not a requirement. I was like, whenever I'm driving with my mom, and I'm sure y'all have this too, they're like, slow down, Raza, slow down. I'm just like, I look at the speedometer, I'm going 50 in some cases.
My mama trusts me.
Oh, it must be nice. Must be nice, Bailey. Well,
I know. It's good not to have a helicopter parent that makes me live in the home with them.
Oh yeah, I'm also not that, but that's another thing, another conversation. Bailey's poorer than me. That's what he's trying to say. And how do you know my parents are helicopter parents?
Raza.
I think you need to come to this is a conversation for your therapist.
No, I mean, I don't.
I mean, they don't care too much.
I feel like, well.
But it's okay. I like your help.
I love Papa Malik and your mom.
No, Bailey called.
And it's culturally relevant. This is the norm and not an odd case. And I'm being a white guy.
It is an odd case. You're being a white guy. I mean, it is because I come from a normal house, so I can't really relate when I don't have both parents around.
You know what's really funny?
I personally,
Raza says he comes from a normal life, like a normal family of having two parents, but he's in the minority in this right now. Of people
in this, well, generally speaking, I'm fine, but
no,
I'm okay
a lot
with.
of people who listen would say you're a minority.
I don't know. Well, from what I gather, I've seen a lot of because okay. How about this? All of my from all my cultured friends, which are a lot of them, their parents are together. I know all of my Caucasian friends. It's they're. I feel like they're the ones that I can flat out say like, okay, I see where you're like this because you
I
had
mean,
two
you should see the single
Christmases.
moms that live. You should see the single moms that live in my building.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah.
not all white, Raza.
Yeah.
I think we've got one person who like creates with us that has two parents. I think there's one person we know in our community, and that's it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you're in the minority.
In this community, but I'm talking about everyone else, right?
Divorce is like one of the most common things.
What?
Divorce. Separation.
Yeah, amongst like certain like
if you're talking culturally,
demographic.
the culture
Yeah.
that you're say yes, that's not a common thing there because
And other
frowned upon.
cultures too, like Asians
Raza.
too. I know. Okay, fine. I'm just saying that like it's a norm.
I know a few Asian families with separate.
So do I, but I also know more Asian families that are together. I'm just saying the average. It's just it's more. You're gonna find white like in this demographic a lot more divorced, Caucasians than divorced.
You actually won't even find married Caucasians actually because they don't even get.
You
that
won't.
far.
No, you won't. But like, see, like I just like I don't know. It's just I didn't grow up in a way that I had any sort of, I didn't need to because it was happening of like around me, and I didn't.
I'm
really
curious.
need to.
What is more common, a divorced family or an intact family? I'm asking.
Where?
If I'm correct, that's like getting closer to even, but it's still primarily nuclear families. In
What
Canada,
is?
in Canada, I don't know about the
Divo-
States. I only know Canada. That
Divorce-
nuclear families are you're still like 60% together parents and like 40% whatever other variables.
I don't.
Roughly,
I don't,
I'm over exaggerating, but it's about that. It's closer to even, but still winning to have a complete family. But again, the multiculturalism of Canada probably plays a large role in that.
Yeah. I mean, Canada. It says here, Canada. Divorce is on a decline in Canada since the 1990s.
It's estimated between 40 and 50% of all U.S.
People.
That's each year.
Yeah, I mean.
That means each year millions of children deal with.
Yeah, nuclear family is no longer the norm. A lot more people are getting divorced. That's
exactly. So let's try again, Raza.
I mean, it's still not a good argument. It goes to show that not a lot of people are happy.
Let's be nice. Have parents, bro.
I am very
loser. Loser.
You have a normal nuclear family.
This also speaks to like the Canadian like value. Like not a lot of people are happy in their relationships or marriages, and they're like.
The problem is
divorces yeah.
Go ahead, Raza. Finish your statement. I'm going to tell you.
And like how divorce kind of like is becoming a little bit more of a thing here because it's just like people like rush into things and whatnot, and I don't know why it's happening here as opposed to.
Here's the problem in Canada.
Europe.
The weather is so cold here for so long. We have nothing to do. Bodies together.
Mm-hmm.
And make children with people we don't want to be with.
Right.
So there's a lot of separation.
Yeah. Sucks. Can't relate, but it sucks. 39% is what the number is. What I'm reading for divorces in Canada since 2020. So it's just like
wait till the pandemic is really over and all the married moved in together and had kids during this. Separate.
Mm-hmm.
Because the trauma bond has ended.
Yeah. It's just kind of weird how like because
I
like
sound so
I know
cynical.
in every culture, because here divorce is like get divorced, get divorced. It is what it is. It's become a cottage industry in North America, but I know in a lot of Eastern cultures there's a lot of baggage. Because that's why like I don't know, I like because all of my friends who are divorced, I'm noticing how they're completely like disassociated with their parents. They don't have any sort of like connection with any side of their family. At least to my friends, right? But it
Well, it
may
also
be
depends on the
different.
value. Also depends on the value of the relationship. If it was a high value relationship, meaning children and intertwined families, then I get
Yeah,
what you're saying. But a lot
yeah,
of
but
people nowadays will just get married and not even tell anybody. It's like they'll come back
yeah,
after a 2 week vacation of a wife.
yes, yeah. And like yeah, it does play a lot like a cultural thing, and like of course both of my parents, you know,
Well,
were
there's more
the
sanctity. There's more sanctity to marriage in your culture than there is in ours.
Yeah.
yeah, and also because my parents fell in. I pretty sure what the story they told me is accurate, but they fell in love with each other, and them staying together is a testament to that thing. So, and they are these two individuals here are the anomaly and are
Hmm.
considered an anomaly in our culture because they're not. Because arranged marriage was a thing back then,
Yeah.
but they didn't. So it just yeah, I think it just and I guess those values has stayed because in my family divorce is such a small thing and whatnot.
Hmm.
It doesn't happen. And like, cause like, whenever I hear stories about Bailey's like other siblings, my mind can't comprehend that. Cause I'm just like, what's such a foreign thing? Because
Having a
in my
step
experience,
sibling.
yeah, because in my sort of because again, for my experiences and my upbringing, that's no one is doing doing that. So when somebody tells me, I was like, holy shit, that's how do you deal with that? Just like the concept of divorce is such a weird concept to me. You know, so like sure, like it sucks, but like it's just sort of it kind of like I don't know. It feels like it's
I think
I can't
separation.
comprehend it. You know what I mean?
I think separation is so normalized in. I don't even want to say culturally because I don't think that that's 100% the case, but separation is so normalized among, I guess, the community that I live in that it's like we'd much rather separate than suffer because the children end up suffering so much more. But it's like
Yeah.
when you look at relationships that stay together just to stay together, like some of my friends whose parents have been married their entire lives and never separated, even though they probably should have, and they're still together to this day and they probably should separate, have suffered
Mm-hmm.
probably more trauma from their parents than I have from mine.
Yeah, because you're still holding on to it at that point.
Well, theirs never ends. It's forever. Their
Yeah.
parents hate each other and they're like, they have to look at love as this thing that you do because you had kids and you have to stay together because you have made all these promises and that's ultimately it in life. Whereas for me,
Right.
like, love means more than committing to something
Yeah, I know in our
just because
culture
you got
it's
so far, right?
yeah, in our culture it's like a heavy commitment. Like you can't just say I want to get married to you. Like you have to be able to
Well, that's the thing
hone
is like
in.
culturally, a marriage in your culture is
Yeah,
not just only about love, it's also about, well, maybe
everything
I'm
else.
wrong, but
Yeah.
it's also about like finances, bloodlines, quality of
So
life, who's going to
yeah,
care for who. Those things matter because
yeah,
they're trying to marry their children off to people who they think are best for them in the roundabout of their lives, and they just hope that maybe they'll love each other, but all the other things are more important than the actual
yeah,
love for the longevity of your life. Where
yeah,
it's like I would much rather see two people separate and then find their true loves in other people and still be able to parent their child respectfully. It's like
yeah,
because I struggle a lot with that kind of stuff because I want to be a mom and I
yeah,
really care about how I will be viewed as a mother and as a person from my child's eyes based on how my partner would treat me.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
those factors are why like arranged marriage happens, because they're looking for respect and for certain like structures within a relationship to raise children and create good life, long life.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's also like to have good like influences too, like
Yeah.
because like if both of your parents are, because like my best friend, his parents got divorced in high school, and he turned out to be like he just went off the rails, like completely just. And I tried to put himself in my shoes or myself in his shoes. I couldn't I couldn't deal with that because I again, it's just I can't comprehend this whole concept, because to me it just feels like a disruption, which it is, but like it's more like a thing that didn't need to happen, but it is happening, and it's like, okay, then why are they
Well,
married?
but
Oh, because
it's
they
like,
fell in love because of a place.
well, you say that, and it's like for me, what I think is more is people who their parents are still together. Let's say their parents are married, and the kid moves out, and then like first of all moves out at an early age, doesn't
Yeah.
really have much contact with their parents, and
Mm-hmm.
is like quite disconnected from them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Bailey can also attest to this because he's lived a very similar life to me in that sense. Is like my relationship with my mother is more to me than the relationship that my mom has with my dad. Like I don't even think about it. I think more about
Right.
our connection. Whereas
Right.
it's like if my mom was to have a partner and separate, the existence of that partner means nothing to me. The relationship I have with my mother separately from that is what's important to me. Where it's like in
Yeah.
your life, if your parents were to separate, your entire life would physically be completely divided in half. Because
Yeah. Understand. Yeah.
you would have these two equally valuable people that you have to then divvy up your time and your
Yeah.
attention to. Whereas like
And that
with
leads
me
to
and
other
Bailey,
problems too.
right, we've had our moms, and that has been
Mm-hmm.
our person, and like
Mm-hmm.
the one we take care of and are connected to, and we don't think about our father's existence to our mother's existence. That relationship with him is like significantly separate, right?
Mm-hmm. It just feels sad because like because like my dad played a huge role in my life, and I can't. That's even you saying that. I'm like, oh my god, how can I
Because
deal with
imagine,
that? Because I'll break and shit. So
right, and it's like, where
it's
are you gonna
yeah,
go? Who are you gonna align yourself with? It's like shit like that.
exactly, yeah. So
Think
yeah,
about, right?
it's yeah, yeah,
Like from a young age, me and Bailey were taught, who is it? What side are you gonna pick? And like
yeah,
ultimately we didn't
exactly,
really have a decision. The person who was going to provide for us and care for us was the one we would connect with.
exactly, yeah, exactly,
or it's like to see dad, you're living in a motel, so it's like, well, I guess I'm not gonna live here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's something. It's something, but it's just like it's a blessing, and like I'm like, cause like family to me is a big, cause I've been around, cause again culturally, family is like a big thing to me. I've been around my family all throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the only funny, ironically enough, the only family members we don't really have it anymore of connection to are the ones on my dad's side, and it's because we feel that, well, they don't really talk about it, but we feel that they have become a little too Canadianized, and they don't want to associate us being desi. They're like, oh, these
Yeah.
Pakistanis, they do other things, like, which is fine. We'll always send out that bridge to be
Cultural
like,
individualism, how dare
yeah.
you?
But like, well, which is fine. If you want to live a life like that, go ahead. But we'll be here. But it just like but like, family to me is a huge component. It because I've a kind of big one, and they're all like kind of like, we're all on the same page to a degree.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, like, I can't fathom a world
I was
where
kind of taught like the exact opposite because of my
yeah,
upbringing. That it's like
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you don't owe anyone shit because they're blood. It's your family is who you choose it to be.
I
Well,
see.
and
Yeah,
Like,
there's also this weird sense of responsibility that you obtain in a single parent household. So Bailey
yeah,
is an only child in that instance. I'm not because I have a little sister, but it's
hmm,
like my responsibility to my mom has such an extreme value that like even if I had my own family and my own and whatever, my connection to my mom, like, that's unbreakable. Like, I wouldn't disconnect from her for long periods of time because I can't. Like, she, you know, like, she's my responsibility. I'm her responsibility in a weird way. It's like, and I think, Bailey, maybe you can attest to this, even with being married now, there's still this sense of, like, that's your mom, that's your responsibility, that's, like, your lifelong friend, like, that you're not going to significantly disconnect from your mom ever. It's so much so where, like, I'm sure, like, I have friends who don't even talk to their parents unless it's Christmas or Thanksgiving. Like, they literally only talk to them for holidays. I call my mom twice a day. I talk to my grandmother my grandmother calls me every morning to wake me up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have that connection where it's like, a lot of people are like, when they have the nuclear family, they don't have those same connections. Not all of them, but commonly, like, they're not as connected with their parents.
Something, the way we describe it often is I had to end up with a more like roommate relationship with my mother because we had to figure out how to navigate life together on a more even playing field, right?
Right. Yeah, it just like I was lucky to pick both my well, not to pick one family because I was born into one, but to pick my other one. You know what I mean? So I'm able to have, like, because I'm that's why, like, I don't, and that's why I have such an optimistic outlook on life. Like, I've had hardships, I do deal with it, a lot of it every day, but like, because I understand that I have something here and I have something there, and people, I hope, got me. So at the end of the day, I just look at that, and that's, no matter what people say, I'm doing stuff for myself. Where I am in life is just it. That's if that's how they look at it, that's how I look at it. But like, I'm able to do things because of having these two systems, and unfortunately, not there's not many people out there that can benefit from the things that I can benefit from.
Well, there's positives and negatives to, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Because, like,
but but it's just like, it does have, like, family relationships does have a lot to do with, like, cultural norms for sure. But it's like, it's just crazy to me when I think about, because I find that I have no sensitivity towards people with parents that separate at, like, later times in their lives. So when people are like, oh, my parents were together for 30, now I'm 32 and they're getting divorced, oh, my whole life's falling apart. It's like, I feel for you, but also, like, imagine never even that structure ever.
Yeah.
So it's like, I find myself being like, oh, boo hoo, so sad. I've seen this so many times over the years, the separation of a family. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. As a kid, it's something else, but like when you're an adult and stuff, it's sad. I 100% am with you. I'll be with you there, but you should understand that's how sometimes the world is.
But so
like, grow up, get out of that shelter feeling.
I feel a bit more empathetic for those people nowadays in many ways, because, like, the thing is, like, you guys are also anomalies on both sides of the fence, because you're both very perceptive individuals who care to stop and think about what others think, right? A lot of, like, your average, like, a Sarah who grew up in the suburbs knows nothing except for everyone around them having happy golden retrievers and my aunt and my uncle and the this and the that. So then when the parents split up and they're like 25 or 30, they've never had any hardships. And then all of a sudden, like you said, they got to decide, they got to go through what you described Raza as. I have a little bit more empathy because the naive people, there's dumb people out there who, like, they haven't seen shit and they don't understand that other people, they didn't stop to think about the emotions of it, you know?
Which, like, I hear you and I agree with you. And I remember experience, like, with my little sister and my cousins. So my aunt and my uncle have been together since they were 16. They literally, they have been together their entire lives, basically my entire life. Like, my uncle has just always been my uncle. And there was it was like me, my sister, and my mom, and my little cousin. We were all hanging out, and I don't remember what happened, but something came up, and my sister made like a really offhand, sort of like non-sensitive, like shitty hot take about my uncle and my aunt separating, and like basically being like, oh, boo-hoo, like just like really like crappy about it.
Mhm.
And then my mom just like looked, like was like, how can you say that to her? Like, she's just a little kid, she doesn't understand that. Like, you've had different experiences, like you wouldn't imagine what that would be like, how devastating that would be for them to have to be pulled between two very normal people, whereas you had a normal mom but dad. You know, like
Yeah.
you gotta look at that situation very differently.
Mhm.
And so I do remember in that instance, like, I did have a moment of like, I mean, I said to my sister, I'm like, don't say that. She's too little. She's not going to understand that concept. Even though me and my sister had the ages like C, but I was just like, you
Mhm.
can't say, like, they don't grasp that concept. I think she was like 11 at the time, and she was like, what do you mean? Like, they could be divorced? You know? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
It's
don't say
it's
that.
it's I think it like it all like it kind of boils down to who you are and how you perceive the world as an individual
Yeah.
too. Because sometimes if your parents get divorced and you're young, you will take it on the chin. But if you're older, you will be like, my entire world is falling down, blah blah. So I think it's just and it's your environment. It's the type of divorce it is. It's the type of parents you have too. And there's a
Yeah.
myriad of
I mean,
factors.
I'll say for me, like, my mom and my dad have been separate my whole life. But my dad had always and like my mom and my dad have together been really fun and funny. Like,
Yeah,
when they're good together, they're so good. So for
yeah,
me, I've had instances of like, look how beautiful these two people interact, but also like they physically and mentally and emotionally cannot get it together enough to be in love the way they deserve to, and instead there's these two people that exist, and like I got robbed of seeing like my mom be loved,
hmm,
you know?
hmm,
Instead, I
hmm,
had to see a different life for her. And it's just like stuff like that hurts me more with them being separated than if
yeah.
they had separated when they were older. Because when they separated when they're older, I think I'd probably be like, okay, well, you know, that's normal relationships. These things happen. But I think watching them back and forth my whole life was probably
That
worse.
must have been weird too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing that like I have like again I can benefit from this because I've had the consistency all
Mm-hmm.
throughout because now I've seen how my parents behave in a relationship and how my dad treats my mom. Now I can transfer those skills because now I know
Exactly.
it works. What my dad is doing is
Exactly.
work. Now I can do it on with that. So yeah, I can
Yeah. Because
look at me go.
that's my biggest thing, because like a lot of people will say to me like, why don't you just have a baby just to have a baby, like like it's so easy just to like have a baby. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, I could do that, but there's fundamentals in my life and I don't want to say like everything about life is about love to me, but it's not just about that. Like, it's about having a child see a structure of people like with emotional intelligence being able to communicate and like healthy boundaries and a healthy life and like
Yeah.
respect and stuff like that. Then I need my child to see that. And even if me and whoever were to separate at some point, like, I'd want my child to still know like mom and dad are still friends and it doesn't matter and we're still gonna love you the same. Like, things are
Hmm.
not gonna change. I want them to experience that sort of safety, whereas like I didn't have that growing up.
Right. Yeah, totally
Yeah.
understandable too. It's just like it's a replacement.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Well, and like I was always jealous of my cousins growing up with my uncle and my aunt together.
Right. Dude, I
Like,
had
that was the
friends.
worst.
I think two of my friends growing up, two or three of my friends growing up were legit jealous of because their parents were split up and they would come over. But my house was considered the fucking fun zone for some reason. Both parents are there. Both parents didn't fucking give a fuck about anything,
Yeah.
drinking all whatnot. But it got to the point where like it was almost like, oh, Raza, your parent. They use like their own parents' divorce as a as if no, sorry, they use my parents being together and my parents being well off as sort of like a dig at me. Like, oh, your parents are together, you're rich. We're out here slanging, we're out cool. Our divorced parents. I was like, that. I don't know if you're trying. Well, what are you trying to flex? I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
it's jealousy, right? It's like
it is jealousy, and I hated it. I would have to like defend myself so much in high school. It was crazy. You're like, this is not. I'm not loaded. My dad is. I have.
Yeah.
He bought me these shoes.
Yeah.
Daddy bought me shoes.
Well, it's like,
So it's like
it's the thing is like a lot of my view on interpersonal relationships has been significantly affected, and my dad's relationship, as well as like my relationship with a consistent parent and an inconsistent parent. I've told you guys this before, but father-daughter relationships are very hard to like wrap my head around. Like they don't make sense to me. And that's because I've never experienced one.
yeah. No. Neither have I.
You guys mind if we get out of here soon?
Yeah, Bailey wants to go. Let's leave. Goodbye.
Sorry, we're talking
Good night,
about
everyone.
family stuff, Bailey. Sorry, we're talking about personal, and like we feel good about our family. Sorry, you don't. All right.
Oh well. Goodbye, everyone.
LOL,
Have a good
Bailey.
night. We're
Goodbye.
leaving.
I'm gonna go hang out with my mom now because she helicopters like a parent around me. Mom, what's for dinner? All right, that's my hot pockets, Bailey. What are you gonna get? Noodles and ice.
Wow.
I'm gonna go take out my anger towards you by loving my fur babies. All right, you prick. All right, I'm gonna take care of my cats, and the whole time,
very single
I'm
dad
gonna
of
be
you.
in my head.
Very single. I'm gonna go hang out with
Raza.
Alicia after.